Hello and welcome to the Contenders Trials of Europe, Middle East and Africa, powered by Monkey Bubble. The final split of the year is upon us, and with so much happening in the last Contender split and the addition of teams through the Monkey Bubble Banana Brawl, this is the one to watch. Today, we'll be looking at Old and Bored as they take on VASTA Gaming. One team, a relatively old entity, and in the rungs of trials at least. The other, veterans under a new name. Then later, we will move to Ex-Oblivion in its old glory versus a renewed Angry Titans. So with something old and something new, we need to borrow your time and find something blue to get this wedding started. Get ready to congratulate the bride and cut the cake. My name is the Olomancer, your flower girl for the evening. And with me is the ring bearer of Recall, the pastor of planning, and the casting caterer to every Overwatch party, my friend, dearly beloved man of class.
Hi. Welcome to the ceremony, I guess. We're opening this last final week of trials, guys. It's finally upon us. The path to pro for 2020 is coming to an end. And as sad as that may be, we still have a lot of exciting stuff to look out for. I mean, we have this week of trials and contenders still. Who else knows what's going to happen during the off season? But for now, we're going to look at, well, a new brand, Old and Bored. Whether they're going to remain a brand for long is always remains to be seen, but it's super fun. And on the other side, we have indeed VASTA Gaming to start off with. I'm super excited about this, and let's take a look at the teams. Starting here with that VASTA Gaming roster, we know this tank line: Rocket, Nipahawk. They even have Yulo in the wings waiting, so they could be ready for that. Kage, Maimon, Snape, and then the real surprise that maybe no one was expecting, Verbo. Because Ollie, Verbo is a name we have not heard in a very long time.
Yeah, he was, I believe, in the LA Valiant. Was it in 2017?
Yeah.
Something like that.
All the first season, yeah.
I mean, I don't think he ever actually played a match. I'm not sure about the numbers over there, man of class. But we do know that he hasn't played a competitive match since January of 2019, when he left the team to the last team he actually coached later on, right?
Yeah, so he was with Sky Foxes, and then he started to manage Sky Foxes. Still, I think, played a match here and there with them, but in generally speaking, Verbo has been out of the rotation for a while. We saw him here and there. It was the third Impact tournament a while back where he did play some sub role or something. So he has been out of it for a while, but that is not really that surprising. Verbo had a very long history with the Overwatch game. Was on the early Immortals roster that then later on became the LA Valiant, or at least the organization that is behind that, and actually was one of those big names. It was like, oh, he dropped out of high school to start pursuing, or dropped out of school to pursue Overwatch. Very young at the time. He's gotten a bit older, but he's still not like old for professional esports standards. He's roughly, I think he's 20 now at this stage. So it's definitely still a place where Verbo has a long way to grow and a lot of places to go. The ages won't really kick in yet. And it's exciting to see him back in the scene, especially on a different continent than he's technically from. He's from the North American side of things, now coming in to invade Europe.
Canada, to be precise, if I remember correctly. Yeah, invading Europe, that's always a nice thing to say. So that's the first time that we don't see European players go to the Overwatch League, but Overwatch League players coming all the way down to Europe. That's nice to see. Now on the other side, now on the other side of the equation, we have Old and Bored. Now, Old and Bored is at least a bit of a colorful peacock, if you so will, right? We're looking at the former Stream team, the former Yep Easy. They won the Banana Brawl, and then what happened, man of class?
Well, it was all fun and well. They could play the Banana Brawl. It was a very cool community initiative. A lot of people were very excited about it. I know we were. We were casting that for a while. We actually casted that edition of Yep Easy for our game. But then afterwards, those streamers, they're not really in it for the path to pro anymore. They might be actually interested sometimes in getting like an Overwatch League offer, but having to go through trials and contenders, and that's something they maybe just not have the time for, are not willing to commit the time to. They have their stream going on. It's a career for them. So Cafe is the only survivor really of that roster, and has just surrounded themselves with actually quite a nice roster of players. Boger, we know them from way back when, was a great tank player, also been streaming a lot, but it's now back on the grind apparently. Explorer, wonderful off tank. Danye and Cafe, probably going to be a great DPS duo if we've ever seen some. And then Ding and Barrocks to round out the roster. I mean, this is still a powerhouse, just not the one that we saw compete in the banana brawl. That's the only thing. So a lot of question marks here in terms of what their performance will be. But the one I'm really have my eye on is Barrett's, because he's finally able to put themselves in a line of players that we already know. And it's not that we don't know Barrett's, but it always feels like Barrett's just needs that one roster to really start shining.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And what I'm looking for mostly is Explorer. He's playing against his former team. I know he hasn't been on VASTA in a long time, as far as, Overwatch timelines go. But he is playing against VASTA right now, and he is playing against his quote-unquote replacement in the form of Nipperhawk. So let's see if that will actually give him a bit of an edge, him and Oldenburg, or if VASTA just know what Explorer is going to do on that off-tank role. So can we already talk about something map related? What are we loading into today here for the first?
I mean, we're gonna start out with Ilios, which to me is a super exciting thing, because that just means that a lot of questions that we have about some of these players are actually going to be answered quite soon, especially Lucio, a hero that's very prevalent on this map, especially when you talk about the points like Well and Lighthouse, where the environmental kills actually come into play a lot. And then also in terms of, general just a meta discussion where you say how good is Farah still, both teams actually, running certain players that would like to play those heroes most likely. And then it just comes in back to what we've been seeing in Contenders last week. The patch hasn't changed massively other than Soldier getting a bit of a buff. So yeah, it's very likely that we're going to be seeing something very similar here from these teams. And the execution that they can do with that is going to be very telling to what the rest of the series can do. And just in terms of, how warmed up are they? How loose are they? What's their synergy as a team like? And yeah, that's exciting to me because, of course, then I get to talk about that again.
Yeah, and we need to, of course, know exactly what the synergies are going to be like. I mean, VASTA has been together for a while, old and board, more or less cobbled together, and a control map usually shows you exactly what implications that has. Individual skill is one thing, of course, but when you have to move as a coherent unit in order to defend that point, that can have its implications when you're not that, synergized, that tuned into each other just yet. So I am looking very much forward to this match here, man. Class.
Yeah, and talking about that, about new rosters, new players, the synergy not quite really being there. It's a trend that we've seen so much in trials lately, even in Contenders to a degree, where these rosters will often just not be finalized until like hours or a day before the actual event starts. And that might be surprising to everybody, but we've also got to remember that that's just the way that Overwatch as a scene is right now. We're talking so much about these teams, these brands, but it's not really about them anymore. It's really about the players. Where are they moving up to? Who gets signed to Overwatch League? Who gets to move up and down the ladder? And that's way more telling as to where the scene is going right now. So I'm very excited to let these players show what they can do, and then also potentially, you get into some trials for Overwatch League, maybe Contenders teams, etc. Because as much as it's cool for them to move up in Contenders, the ultimate goal is obviously, professional Overwatch. Go to the Overwatch League, make a proper living out of it.
Yeah, you want to keep that in mind when you watch these teams, right? These people are not here for fun. Let's start with that. With maybe the exception of Cafe, these people are not here for fun. Both of these teams will try to get higher up the rungs, higher up the ladder, and the higher the ladder gets, the harder these rungs are to contest. Because you just mentioned it, we are going into trials, very different from the last split we've seen, and then you have to go into a Contenders that has two very different things to do. The lower rungs of Contenders change every week, so you don't know what to expect. And then there's this end boss at the top of it. It's the British Hurricane that you need to master, that you need to get out of. Well, it's still a long road for any of these teams. The good thing is they're in trials, so they have at least the capacity, the capability to go all the way up there and at least get a shot at that final boss. And then maybe someone from tier 1 will look down and say, oh, look at this support player, for instance. Look at a guy like Verbo. Maybe he needs a second shot at Owl. Or maybe on the other side, you have Vasta's very much played in support line that could just be moving upward, both of them, which is something I wanted to talk to you about anyway, right? The entity Verbo versus a set in VASTA support line. How is this going to impact the games we're about to see?
A lot of that will not just depend on just the support line as itself, but it will also depend a lot on just the tank synergy, the DPS synergy, how the communication's been going.
Yeah.
And synergy is obviously a big part of that. You know, how long have you been playing together? But with a game like Overwatch, with those teams being so fluctuated, everyone is so used to adapting to like a new set of players. The base communication in a game like Overwatch is actually very, very well developed. You see it in ranked often. When you look at streamers, they have so much standard communication that happens already on a ranked level that when you start playing with a new team, there are so many sort of, you call it industry standards. Like everyone does it this way, so it's not that hard to adapt to a new team. And all you really have to do then is devise maybe some particular strategies or particular micro plays. So at its base, it might not be that impactful, but that's obviously something we're going to be seeing as we load into Ilios Lighthouse here.
Yeah, let's go and see how this is going to play out. Old and bored tank line, Julo and Nipperhawk over on the left side. This is going to be an interesting one to watch. I mean, we don't have to talk a lot about Nipperhawk, but he's probably one of the best off tanks this game has ever had. And yes, you can quote me on that. On the other hand, wait, actually, I think the titles have been swapped over. It's of course Vasta's line. On the other side, with Old and Board, they have a DPS lineup that is just finger licking good.
Yeah, definitely. Already see the slight difference in competitions coming out. Mainly, it's going to be about that Brigitte, the support line, and DPS difference in Danye and Maimon.
Yeah, we already see Maimon trying to put some pressure up on that high ground. VASTA Gaming makes some room here, now has all the space to roam and fire it into VASTA Gaming, who are just trying to get the point. They actually do get it capped there, man of class.
Yeah, it's quite early cap. Not really a fight win, though. So the soft reset does come out here for Old and Board. Now we're going to see how they can re-engage with this. Boger tries to go for that slam and does actually go on top of Snape, but the supports are being traded.
Supports are being traded. Now Cafe with the double kill. Valva and Kage both going down here to Cafe on that tracer. He finds number 3 and Maimon, and he's looking for number 4. Actually gets Nipperhawk out of the sky with the help of Explorer. Is able to get himself back there into the fray, almost falling down. That was beautiful, and you do see the danger that the DPS lineup for Old and Board will pose over the course of this series.
Yeah, very much so. You see Snape now go over to the Ana, wants to do a little bit more against that ball jumping on them. And of course with a sleep dart and a shield bash, a lot more deterrence there for Boger. And see if they can still get that same value and get that opening kill on the support if they try again.
Well, VASTA is going to have their work cut out for them, and now they're coming out of the gauge. Kage already moving up towards the point, trying to put some pressure onto Boger, but there is enough flank to actually get Kage down. Cafe was there, of course, just to make sure that the flanks are clear. The capture try, this time by Julo, as they move on towards the point. Maimon needs to get away there from both Explorer and Danye. Trying to clear that high ground will not be easy for the Echo.
It definitely will not be, but Cafe is just popping off right now. If you got the nano boost to even do more damage, he's beaming down targets left, right, and center. This is really just the Cafe show. He's been unstoppable so far, Ollie, and I don't see it changing anytime soon.
That melee was just disrespectful. Beautifully played. Tracer versus Tracer. Cafe in control. Kage maybe a bit shell-shocked, and at the end of the day gets the fist. So, yeah, those are the days that you have. It's now 70% on the scoreboard for Old and Board, and we do see that VASTA reluctantly needs to find a position. They're trying to get themselves together to push this back in. Now, what in the eyes of VASTA Gaming could you be doing here, man of class, in order to get a foothold?
I mean, they finally decide to put Verbo on the Mercy to give Maimon a bit more support. They want Maimon to put as much pressure onto the enemy backline as well, Danye is able to do, and Maimon already gets that pressure onto Barrett to start off with.
Oh, Danye goes down as well as Julo comes in with a pile driver. So VASTA now have a window of opportunity to run it in. Julo at the end of the day goes down as Explorer moves it in on the point, but there should be a counter cap. The overtime wake already running at 99%. It is a long hold, especially on this lighthouse level, man of class.
It really is, and it's not going to be easy to do so, but you saw already how much more Maimon can do just because they have a Mercy with them. Verbo always known to be a good Mercy, showing it right here, and that's just a very well-placed bomb. Cannot get away from that with your Barrots.
You cannot. Barrett's just in the sky. They were lucky that Danye wasn't fully affected. Maimon finds a road in and gets him down anyway. They do lose Furbo on the side of VASTA, so that will mean no res and a little less security for Maimon, who now goes in with the copy, gets in that wrecking ball. They're trying to just stall for time, 65%, but there's a barrage. Danye on the sideline gets Julo, and that just means that while you had a double ball, now it's just the copy. That should leave in just a couple of seconds, as we do see Oldenborg moving back on towards the point. 1 versus 2 on the capture point. Maimon actually gets pushed back as Boga Kage with the double kill onto Boga and Kafi. Now this is open again. Kage had enough of this, and now VASTA are able to secure the point. We are going into absolute last fight territory. This could get hectic.
This is all going to be about Snappy and Verbo being able to put their support ultimates out correctly, because the minefield's out on point and they cannot just take too much damage from that. Otherwise, this fight will be over very quickly.
99 to 99 now. 1 versus 2. Calfi gets sticky bomb onto Snappy. A lot of healing going down, but Barrett on the other side gets taken out in the duel of the Mercies. Boga opens it up, but it is Julo who gets Danye down. That could potentially be huge. Kage with a nice stick does not find the value that he wanted to have. It's still 1 versus 1 on the point. Julo, nice move onto Boga there. Actually a pile driver off the cliff. I love it when the wrecking balls play this kind of game. There's a minefield now up. There's a cap yet again, this time going to VASTA with a minefield up. That should be very hard to contest. No pick. VASTA with the first round, even as Kafi gets that double kill there.
This is the retake from 99 all the way back up. Yeah, they had about 26% they got from the first fight. Well, before the first fight actually started. But they still had to claw back quite a decent way. And you really saw that the adjustments that VASTA made were working out. No, Verbo going over to the Mercy was actually instrumental in that last fight, because they could res Snappy, because they could stay out of the line of fire a lot of the time and just keep on Maimon to keep moving around the map and support everyone where needed. That's such a different dynamic than when you're Brigitte. You have an armor pack every now and then, but in general, you start finding targets to actually do healing. And Verbo realizing that, or VASTA in general maybe realizing that, and just switching that over, really made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, and we do see as the play is being realized, as the play is slowly being comprehended by the fans, the VASTA pastas are up all in chat. I think the crowd is hyped. I think we are hyped as we move into the ruins portion of this first control map. And Kafi this time on the McCree, immediately looking for some targets, man of class. Now this swap may be a tiny bit unexpected, at least for me it is. But what is the reasoning here?
I mean, the reasoning is that if you put up the shields and a diva behind it and then a turret, then it's going to be pretty hard to approach that. If you're a tracer, if you are an echo, if you are really anything that wants to get close and personal with you, even a ball. And so far, it's working out pretty well for Oldenborg. Barros is just the carrot on top, you know, cherry on the Sunday. It's great, you know, extra deterrent as Brigitte.
It is the graphics on the wedding cake right here. Old and Board take the point for the first bit. After what looked like a hard fight, Furbo and Nipperhawk decide to reset this. So VASTA now have to go into this very static setup, and we will see how they're going to go about this, man of class.
At least they put Yulo behind it, and it's actually quite cool to see that Yulo comes out here on this control map, right? Instead of Rocket that we've seen a lot. And that has all to do with hero pool. VASTA expanded their hero pool by adding another tank player, but Yulo is not going to be expanded this time around.
No, he actually got expendables as Barrett just put the stun on, and then they just took him out. Danye this time on that Torbjorn, getting a lot of value. Explorer got on the double kill up in the sky, and that is a nice clear from Old and Board. VASTA Gaming maybe need to switch it up just in order to get that frontline pressure, and Julo's swap shows that they know that and that they will try and go for it.
Yeah, they might not have wanted this, but they kind of have to do this. They have to go over to the Orisa and that Hanzo, go for a bit more shield break and range damage rather than have to go up in their face. You'll also see that Maimon is still on the Echo, has the duplicate ready, and that could be instrumental for this next fight.
Oh, there we go. The bongos are out, so a lot of pot damage now flying over towards the VASTA side. The Molten Core coming out from Danye actually gets Julo, who couldn't move out of the burning carpet here. And now this time, while the rest from Verbo is there, here. VASTA do not seem to have the capability to put some pressure on that front line. With Explorer coming in from the side, eating a lot of those shots coming out of Julo. But that is a good ball by Nipperhawk. Danye going down, opens up the venture, and this time VASTA are moving in. There's the Danger Noodles coming out from Kage. They just want some clear, clean space where they can do their thing, but it is Ding and Bogus stopping them immediately. The overtime wig running as it is 1 versus 3 on the point. Kage very low, but so is Ding. Ding goes down as Waymon comes in from the side. Bogus just cleans it out of the sky, and the overtime wig going down. We are 1-1 in this first control, and this looked like Old and Board are just stepping it up right now.
It really looked like VASTA was a bit lost on what to do against that composition. They probably thought they had a chance. You know, if you can get on top of them, boost them away from their barrier, and then finish off a target that we're able to individualize, separate from their team, we can still do our dive. We can still do what we want to do in with this composition. But unfortunately, it doesn't really work that way with the structure of Ilios. There's so much preventing you from follow-up if the team is not standing on the objective. There's all these walls and objectives around. You really saw that Yulo could just be separated instead of doing the separating himself. Now we will see a more point 1-esque composition coming out from both teams, and Danye is now going to match Maimon on the Echo. It's the first time we're going to see, well, basically a mirror match, and that's actually very exciting because that will probably determine a little bit more about where these teams are at in terms of level against each other.
Yeah, moving in immediately up on the high ground. Danye is trying to make sure that the skies stay clear. No sign of Maimon just yet, as the Echo fight should be well and underway. We are running with Boga, though, right now, who was sitting on the side, just waiting for that initial boom. Does not seem like that's going to come to pass as we move on to Cafe.
Yeah, Cafe is, has been, well, was really popping off in map 1. Map 2, not so, round 2, not so much. Now they have to reinvigorate that performance, but not before Danye is taking out Nipperhawk out of that mech. Well shot.
VASTA Gaming being forced onto point here, but the first steps from Old and Board. Explorer gets both Nipperhawk out of mech and forces a Julo back into retirement. Looking for further targets. Explorer is just taking care of that pesky mini diva as both Nipperhawk and Verbo bite the bullet here. This time Old and Board in control of the point. VASTA Gaming seem to have some issues moving through those chokes.
Yeah, it's a good kill they get there onto Danye, though. That opens up a lot more because then they have aerial dominance for this for the beginning of this first fight, and that could actually lead to a fairly easy retake. Julo already in position to go for a huge pile driver.
Yeah, pile driver comes down. That was nice. Ding is actually being picked up. Kage follows it up with a kill onto Barrett, so no more support line. But Cafe and Danye is still in the play, and they make sure that you know that as Verbo goes down with a nice sticky bomb. Nipperhawk has to pull themselves back because Cafe is still in the side, still looking for more, and they need actually 2 tanks just to stop that Tracer from their absolute run for the money here. 48% on the scoreboard right now as VASTA Gaming still haven't cracked this nut.
Oh, that wouldn't be as bad had Cafe and Danye not both been on Tracer there with that Echo duplicate. Now Maimon will have the duplicate as well, so could just go for that same trick. But you see how much both these teams want to go aggressive. They don't want to actually peel too much for their backline, and that's why you see Dig, Barrett, Snappy, and Verbo generally have very short lives on this map right now.
They do. This is a DPS versus DPS race. The difference right now is that Old and Board's DPS lineup seem to just get more done, especially compared to Main One, who, while he is very good on utility, is not as much on the kill feed as he wants to be. This time, though, Main One and Kage fire it in. Diva bombs flying all over the place with the copies. This time, Julo up on the point. They want this 92%. They need to get this cap here for the side of VASTA. Old and Board falling apart slowly but surely as Nipperhawk takes down Explorer. The cap has been done. Old and Board still has some presence on the point after cap as Boga is just harassing. Same thing goes for Ding. He goes down. Cavi follows it up. And this time VASTA Gaming, again, very late on the counter cap, very late on the defensive cap, and now they need to defend for a long time.
Yeah, definitely. They do need to defend for a longer time, but they also have a lot more ultimates in the bank. If they can space these out properly, they could very well just win out this point as well. It's a 1-1. They need to if they want to win the map. but it's still going to be a very tough one to do. The main ultimates that were really working well, though, were Snappy's Transcendence. That was the one that just won in that last fight.
Yeah, with the rally coming out, there's a nice bomb now. So a lot of ultimates actually being set up just in order to defend this place. 46% on the clock. It was just the sticky bomb and the rally. The sticky bomb, you know, neglectable, but the rally, that's a big one. You don't want to maybe give that up so early.
No, but if you're ult-tracking correctly, you know that you're not that far behind Barots, and Nipahog has generally been able to open up or win fights just by killing one person with a bomb. If they can do that again, this could just go into last fight territory, and a 99-99 is very much in the cards.
Yeah, look at Julo here, just waiting patiently on top of that turret, just waiting for the two towers to give their signal. Now he's moving down. He's going into that backline, gets stunned yet again by Barrett's. Ding needs to pull back. They are able to just run it with the help of Main One. They can just run that support line down. That should give them some breathing room on the side of VASTA. But there's another cap on the back of Cappy with the double kill. Barrett's just killed Julo. And now things are looking quite dangerous here for VASTA as Old and Board are in control of the pace yet again. 82% on the side of VASTA. Kage gets that sticky bomb. There still is big combo. That's a good stick.
Oh, no.
Kage goes down with it though. So you win some and you lose some. The Overwatch gods take it and give it. And that is just how these games are going to go as the overtime wick is running. 3 versus 1 on the point. VASTA have to expand. They do go back here and cap the point yet again so that it will tick up. We might just be going for that 99-99, but things are going to get hectic yet again. Can VASTA hold on?
Oh, this is the support line fight. It's all about whether Ding's Transcendence gets more value than Verbo's potential rally. But there's Tank Ultimates on line 2, and now VASTA's already getting the kills. This overtime might not be running for too long, Ollie.
Kage takes the double kill, actually takes Bogorov, and that is going to be a huge relief on the stress front. He goes for Barrett, finds them as well. There's a Diva Bomb flying out there for Bold Explorer! Not the triple! They open this wide up as Explorer just moves it back in. That was a beautiful play. The overtime work still running. It is 99%, but Old and Board have cleared the point. Danya just taking 2 more kills, and this is over on the back of a Diva Bomb. Old and Board take the first map. And I can see your face. You are absolutely stunned. What a firework from Explorer.
It's so baffling how that Diva Bomb gets 3 kills.
That was beautiful.
We were looking at... I mean, the thing is, we were in the POV from Kage, right? Like, we were looking at that. Okay, so where's the bomb going? And it looked like it was going over the wall. But what probably happened, which, you know, we can't actually see because we don't have the replay, is I think the bomb was like above the wall. So it still got like the sort of the cone effect where it went on both sides of it. And that's how those 3 players got caught out. I think, oh, there's no way that hits us because we're all the way in the back line of the enemy team. But they still got... if that bomb doesn't hit, I'm fairly certain that VASTA takes that point. But unfortunately, if you lose 3 players at once in that overtime situation, that's gonna go really bad for you. So Old and Board, clutch play coming out there, but that's not gonna save them every time. And with how close VASTA's making this could be a heck of a series.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that. If this is the starting shot, what is the final crescendo going to be, ladies and gentlemen? So VASTA Gaming lose their first map, lose their control map on the back of a single play by Explorer. And once again, Explorer is playing against his former team. That just got too hard for all you VASTA fans out there.
It is a bit jarring, isn't it? But I mean, you already see that VASTA has tricks up their sleeve. You know, they play Yulo on this map, and they might probably switch over to Rocket if there are other things happen. So they've got some reserves to work with. I think that's actually the same on Old and Board side. They might also have a sub. I kind of forgot. That's on me. Sorry. But yeah, no, there's a lot going on between these teams right now. And we were talking before about the support line really being the crux of this. And you kept seeing it. Both teams focusing so hard on that Zenyatta, focusing so hard on that Brigitte afterwards. And it's all bringing us back to those old dive days. Who can kill the Zenyatta faster, or who can protect their Zenyatta the longest? And both of these teams kind of go for a hybrid style where they both try to kill the other Zenyatta fast, but also try to protect theirs. It's really interesting to see, and that's what that mobility ball Echo Tracer composition really enables, to just run in and keep bouncing on that backline.
Yeah, and that is exactly the point that I was going to fire up next. It's Julo on that ball, going for that backline consistently, coming in 3 to 4 times over the course of this last map alone. Main one was there when they needed him, but often Julo didn't really have the backup. They needed to fully execute that play. Now, why was that? Where was the missing link here for VASTA?
The missing link is that you choose to go for that, right? Like you choose to send specific heroes after that backline. And a lot of the time that was up to Julo and Maimon. But what often kept happening is that Danye on their echo play would actually sort of counter the echo play of Maimon and got a lot of, well, advantage out of that duel. So
Yeah.
if Maimon is not able to follow up on a Julo's play as much as, for instance, Cafe and Danye are on the other side on their Zenyatta, then even if you get that Zenyatta kill, you lose your DPS, and then if your DPS output is lower, you'll usually lose the rest of the fight. Now, that didn't always happen, but that was definitely a consistent trend you saw throughout that map, that echo matchup between Danye and Maimon, or in general, the matchup between Danye and Maimon. And now we're going to Volskaya, where we completely turn around the playbook, where it's not just chaos around one objective, but it's organized play around one objective. And that could open up a lot of opportunities for both of these teams, but what we're likely going to see is almost more of the same with some added and changed elements. And the thing I'm really excited for right now is to see if VASTA can improve on what they've been doing on Control, but set up for it a little bit better, because they're on Assault, which allows you to do that.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask you part of the question that you've already answered for me, namely how much of this dynamic, this Danye main one dynamic, is going to impact the way that we're going to be viewing the Volskaya Industries map that we're going to load, or that we're already loading in right now. We already see Boga trying to go in via the side, Kage blocking those shenanigans quite adeptly here, as it is Julo who's just pushing the team back. You do see Old and Board, they seem to be a little bit split on, you know, how to go or when to go in. They are opting to go for the lower ground, go to the high ground platform on the left side. VASTA Gaming, how can they respond to this as the capture is happening?
They just need to deny that soldier free fire from high ground, because Danye can do so much more with that new tracking, and Explorer is already a good tool to take out for that.
Yeah, Kage comes in from the side, takes Explorer out, and the fight is still on. The first tick still not compared as Kage takes Cafe down, but Danye and Ding are there. Both of the DPS for VASTA now going down. Snappy makes sure that Ding pays with his life for that. Nice try on the pile driver play here. Julo versus Borger. Julo at the end of the day able to just boop them off, get some rest in that backline. VASTA still in control of point A.
You see how scared they are to go up to Danye. Like, they know how strong that soldier is nowadays. Soldier's always been able to do a lot of damage, but now that he's supported by the Brigitte, and now that the tracking is even more accurate than it used to be, you know that at this level, you cannot just jump on a soldier, because even as a tank, with that much health, you'll just be shredded.
Yeah, the soldier changes have opened a lot of venue for that in that mid-range fight engagement, and that just means that when you try to move in there with something like a Tracer, you best know what you're doing, because otherwise you are going to be blown to smithereens. Explorer, they eat that pulse bomb here on the side of Kage, so that's a bit of an opener. Even though Cafe goes down, that could have ended worse there for Old and Board, who still don't seem to have the forward momentum to move on. As I say that, Ding and Explorer find it. There it is, the Visor onto Verbo. They clear that point. They want that point A, and they are done with VASTA shenanigans. 1 minute and 44 in the clock as the first third is ticked. Nipperhawk resets. They're just giving them point A, and that just makes sense. Set up for point B. Defense here, man of class.
It kind of reminds me what happened on the first point of Ilios, where Maimon had so much trouble getting the value out of that Echo because they didn't really have enough support. And because VASTA is choosing to protect Snappy by having Verbo on that Brigitte, you can see the similar dynamic happens there. It kind of feels like Maimon needs that Mercy, or is used to having that Mercy, and doesn't really know how to do it otherwise, and they can just get shut down like this. Ding just beams them with a right click.
Yeah, Ding is just able to pick off the sky immediately. Explorer with a nice kill of the Kage. We do see Boga is disrupting a lot, and the Transcendences flying out here from Snappy. This time, a new Diva Bomb comes out from Explorer. Not a lot of targets this time around, but at least the point is clear for a little while as Sting fires it onto Snappy. Sting looking for further targets. Actually has to fire the Transcendence, and now the pressure is up. 2/3 already capped. 6 versus 4 on the point as Boga takes down Niga. Kage with a nice sticky. Daniel Barrett both going down. This could actually give them a chance as he goes for number 3. At the end of the day, Explorer with a bomb of their own takes Kage down. Boga with a follow-up, and Old and Board, despite a great play from Kage, finish round 1 with an impressive time. 3 minutes and 24 on it right now.
Oh, they just couldn't get Kage out of that self-destruct range. Missed that one blink they didn't have, maybe mistimed their recall and couldn't escape from it. Otherwise, you have a Tracer on that point with no supports, just beaming down your tanks for long enough for the tanks of VASTA to come back. You know, Yulo and Nipahog were actually quite close to coming back, but unfortunately they could get body blocked for just that extra second. So unfortunately, cannot hold on for longer, but 3 minutes 24, it could have been worse, you know? That, that first point, they did actually quite well on defending it for a long time. And now it's all up to VASTA, you know, can they do their own snowball maneuver? Can they match or even improve on that time bank? Even if they don't, completing the map might be enough if they have at least a little bit time left. So we'll see how Old and Board sets up for the defense. It looks like they want to do the same thing, which works fairly well. I think instead of the Widowmaker running the Soldier nowadays might be better. This is not yet the patch for everyone who might have been wondering, where Widowmaker's health has got reduced and Brigitte's health got increased. They're still running with the patch before that, so Soldier is the one that got buffed and everyone else is kind of where they were before. And you can see that even without that health nerf that Widowmaker got, they still feel more comfortable with the Soldier due to the sort of anti-dive that he has. Not because he does damage against the dive that well, but mostly because he can run away from it that fair enough. He has a lot of sustain for himself against it.
He does have a lot of sustain. He is able to not only be dangerous on that long range, but the mid range especially is where he absolutely shines. So when you have a dive composition against you, Yulo and Nipahog that will be trying to go and come into your face, that Soldier is a deterrent right there. Snappy already finds Cappy this time around, so that's a good opener. That Tracer is out of the way, and Main One immediately goes for Boga. Now it is VASTA who are looking for blood right away. Old and Board are holding that high ground, but we do see Maimon coming in from their sideline as Jula and Kage come in for more. Both of them take 2 out of the equation. Point A handily being capped. There is no way this is going to be contested, and this is looking like a very good time here for VASTA Gaming.
Yeah, and you can see how much of that is just like a team effort, right? Like, sure, Kage charges the pulse pump faster, but that's just Tracer's ult charge, and everyone else is coming in with a fairly similar rate. Now, the downside of that is that the pulse pump will basically be the only thing available in the first 10-12 seconds of this fight. So if Kage can get another big one, we might see a very quick end, but otherwise this could go on for a long time.
Name One coming in from the side this time. Yet again, looking for that off angle to go for that support line. They are holed up on that bit of high ground and hard to get to when you're an Echo with just 200 hit points. But they're jumping in now. Boga going down. This could be the starting shot. Nipahog immediately jumps in onto Ding. That is a lot of healing. No longer on the point. VASTA Gaming putting up the pressure, but it's Cappy with a double kill. Both of the DPS coming down. VASTA Gaming might just have lost the momentum to a single Tracer, and that is a bit of the story of this setup right away. Cafe tries it, just Kobe's in that bomb, doesn't find a lot of value, but it is Danya this time with the visor, takes down 2, they clear the point, and we have seen this before when the points were flipped. 5 minutes on the clock though, bit better time for VASTA Gaming to change this around.
Yeah, they have more attempts for this point B, whereas Old and Board took a while for point A. VASTA just steamroll through there, so it means they can still get a better time than Old and Board does. But we all know about the legend of 2CP. Capping a second point outside of your first attempt usually takes a while. The ultimate advantage is there for VASTA, but it might not be enough, especially when Ding has that Transcendence to negate like half of it.
Yeah, you do go in there with a very close setup, almost ready for that rally on a Verbo. So they might just be able to wait out the Transcendence, fire in that rally, and then just hope that they can just keep that pressure up. We'll see how they're going to be playing as Jula comes in from the back, almost gets slingshotted away there. That was very, very, very dangerous. Main One this time with the Echo copy, fires in the minefield. Explorer under a lot of pressure, but so is Nipahog coming in from the side, is both Voga, who needs to pull back, has his own minefield up, takes Julo down. So in terms of pressure, this could have gone better for VASTA, but now they are committing. There it is. The rally comes out, immediately gets stopped. Cafe, what a stick. Barons goes down on the other side as well, but it is Cafe who takes down both of these supports and the support ultimate. Cafe just making that little bit more impact. We do see 2/3 already capped, 3 minutes 35 on the clock. So another one of these ferocious attacks, Old and Board will not be able to repel.
Yeah, and where we just had a pretty big ultimate fight, now we're going to in a fairly vanilla fight. Danye is close enough to a visor, and Barrots basically has the rally. So those are two tools that VASTA has to be aware of and has to be ready for. If they're not, this fight is probably going to be over before it starts or dragged out for so long that the visor just cleans it up in the end. And that's a scary proposition when you kind of already need to be completing this point to match the time bank.
We do see Nipperhawk once again just looking to up a next bomb here for themselves, trying to make sure that those sight lines are clear. Main one, once again, just firing a lot of these sticky mines into the side room. They do a lot of splash damage, but it will not be enough to go in there without any support and just trying to take down 4 people. So a little bit of a misplay here in my book. 2 minutes and 40 on the clock. VASTA Gaming, they are trying to farm their ultimates, but they need to be efficient about this, man of VASTA.
Well, they did bait out the rally, which was a big tool that they had on the defensive side, and Snappy will now have the Transcendence that Ding does not yet have. This means that this could be a fight that goes into their favor purely by the grace of it taking longer. It's probably gonna hold on to it for that Danye attack visor. Ooh, Julo's so low, it saves them.
The Transcendence is there, but so is the Visor. Main one and Kage are both going down. Once again, no more DPS up on there. Nipperhawk loses the mech. So while VASTA Gaming moves in there, tries to force it with the Transcendence, that Visor instrumentally changed that entire engagement. Cappy, what are you doing? There's the double kill. Just goes back and just lays themselves to sleep. I mean, that Pulse Bomb is there in 20 seconds flat, but, you know, it's an interesting play from Cappy.
I mean, they got the pulse bombs. We barely even talk about them anymore because they just come online whenever they want. It's like a cooldown. You just have to wait for it and be there like pretty quickly. But yeah, I mean, both the tracers have been doing fairly well. It's just that Cafe has been able to keep consistently getting to that backline of Snappy and Verbo exactly when VASTA's not ready for it. That timing is impeccable. And now Cafe is waiting for Kage on the side, and together with Ding takes them out.
Yeah, Ding was already there. He's just firing those right clicks in and is deterring the entrance like the big artillery fire support that he is. Voga moves back on towards the point, is looking for that off-angle attack. That is Nipperhawk's territory, and you do see Nipperhawk already back on that high ground. VASTA Gaming have 3 ultimates up, but so do Old and Board. So with 60 seconds on the clock, VASTA is absolutely forced to do something. Snapping coming down. Explorer making sure that there is no momentum tick up. Verba going down as well. Cafe looking for more targets. Moving back in as Danya right clicks that Kage, who was already on low hit points. 40 seconds to go. VASTA Gaming, what do you think? What can they do? How can they move in there?
I mean, it's just been so interesting how for both teams, it's always the same ultimates that find value. It's the pulse bombs, the self-destructs, even to a degree the minefields and the duplicate and attack visor. It's really the tank ultimates, sorry, the support ultimates that are really not finding as much value. They're sort of being waited out or ignored or played around very well at this stage. And that's something for both teams to actually look at.
We'll see what's going to run as Cafe now moving on to Julo. 10 seconds on the clock, and VASTA Gaming need to push in. There's the minefield coming out. Main one coming in from the side, trying to put some pressure on those supports. There we go. Another Transcendence from Ding. The rally from Verbo is slowly being expended here as Main one on the copy loses that Hammond copy. It goes down immediately afterwards because Ding is still there. The overtime wick not running. 2+1 on the clock. Ding and Cappy looking for further targets. Ding goes down, but Cappy with a double kill. No more support on the side of VASTA. This is falling apart. It is just Nipperhawk with the bomb. It's not able to get back in that mag because it's a Brigitte just waiting with the old boards, and the Old and Board take down the Volskaya Industry map too. That was an interesting map. VASTA looked very good when they had that momentum, but lost it consistently to what they did to the backline. Old and Board was able to go into that backline so well, and Man of Class explained to me how they did that so consistently.
Well, I mean, like we said, we're looking at that continuation of what happened on Ilios, right?
Yeah.
Where both teams really want to go for each other's backline, really want to set up for those plays, and then the question is, how much can you then still do for your own backline to deny the enemy team doing the same to you? And right now, because of that high ground difference, especially on the defense when All On Board was there, it was so much harder for VASTA to get on top of the backline of All On Board that by the time they finally invested enough resources and movement into it, they couldn't possibly peel anymore for their backline. And then Kafi kept on capitalizing on it. And even when Kafi wasn't doing anything, you still have Danye being that big old distraction on the soldier. So it's very tricky, and the way that VASTA is able to, well, not as able to do that as All On Board was, is because they keep running this Echo. And while Echo is a very annoying hero to work on the side with, it does seem that Maimon needs that extra bit of support that they cannot supply without a Mercy. And the soldier in that situation is just a more valuable pick, especially with the damage you can now do with him and with an accurate representation from range.
Yeah, and let me just I looked at my notes. That's another thing that I wanted to highlight before we move on to Hollywood. How good is Ding? Ding just keeps the sky clear basically on itself. And I wonder if that is a positioning thing from Main One, or if that is just Ding knowing where to be and just consistently being that Zenyatta monster. How is that? How is that working?
It's always a little bit of column A, column B. A lot of the time, you know, Zenyatta's can put a Discord orb on somebody, and you look around the corner, and like, they know already you're there because, you know, they can see you through a wall with the Discord orb. So he's just lining up his shots. He's pre-aiming, pre-throwing those volleys out, and it's working out for them. And Ding, yeah, I mean, you said it, just does a lot of damage, just is able to get a lot of value out. And currently, they're also getting a bit more value out of their ultimates, etc. in general. So it's really up to Snappy and Verbo to either be peeled for a bit more or to get more value out of their own plays. I think a lot of the time when Snappy uses their Transcendence, it was very well done on Ilios, but on Volskaya, it was dropping off a little bit in value because they're so spread out. So you cannot heal up everybody at the same time, and then that Transcendence loses potency because a soldier can still beam someone down that's not inside of that Transcendence in the first place. So we'll see if that trend continues on this map as they keep running this Echo. But this time Danye will be on it as well, so they won't have that soldier edge, that soldier difference, and they go for the straight up mirror.
And it might actually work because we've seen that Danye, while a very good Echo in their own right, had some issues, especially when we looked at the control point, to keep themselves out of harm's way. Main One able to do that just a tad better. That meant that the control point was a lot closer than we could have expected. Now in the in the macro game of it all, Old and Board on match point here for this series. So VASTA needs to actually get their act together. And the first one who gets something together is Kafi, jumping onto Snappy, taking him down yet again.
Very nicely done. Of course, Boger straight away afterwards just helped to clean up. But Maimon gets a double with it, gets both supports out straight away. That might turn the tides if they can come back quick enough. And it looks like it. Boger already out.
Wow, Main One and Snappy able to just make sure that there's enough building room to, you know, get more, prevent worse damage, basically, to your point. The first third has been capped due to the speed of Old and Board's engagement, but it is not over by any stretch of the imagination, as VASTA Gaming still defend the point up from the Juice Places high ground.
Definitely, and right now it's just going to be a soft reset for Old On Board, but it seems the fight is not quite over just yet, as we see actually Kage being behind the enemy team, gets away safely, just was on top of that backline, and Ding and Barretts are able to get them away, but only deter, not kill. Now Boger is going in, they're all trying to find their targets, and it's eventually Snappy that falls first.
Yeah, Snappy falling may just be a starting shot. Nipperhawk is under a lot of pressure from two sides. Has to work both on Explorer and for a little while on Kafi, who is now in the back line, goes to Verbo, and Danye turns around, takes it with a double kill. The capture is real. This should be point A, and we should be getting that payload up and down into the road, and we are going to shoot a heist movie. 4 minutes 27 on the clock as we move on to Hollywood point B.
Hollywood Point B has always been that place where you see a lot of high ground contests with those hit scans, with a lot of other things. But now you have these new elevators. Anyone can really get up here at any time they want. Not that either team really has an issue with it. I mean, they all have mobility enough through the supports that might be able to use it, but everyone else can just fly up there. You see Danya is looking for it. He's like, I'm not going to use my flight cooldown for that. I'm just going to use the elevator and beam down Maimon.
Danye immediately jumps onto Maimon, like you said. Ding onto Kage. Danye now has the copy, has that bomb already ready, and will most likely use it just to make some space. Actually, they're both just deciding to go for a new mech here, even though Danye's copy has no more time left. That was a nice play on the side of Danye. Doesn't do enough with that bomb in my view, but not every play has to be flashy. Nice stick though. Cappy takes down Turbo yet again, and it's just open to find more targets in Julo and farm one more of those beautiful bombs. You see VASTA, they're just trying to buy some time, and while this is the name of the game, that is just about the only thing they're able to achieve. Maimon though, nice double kill. This might just give them some deterrence, but at the end of the day, they're going down to Cafe once again as they come in through the side lane. Payload still moving, 3 minutes on the clock, and now Nipperhawk needs to hold this for a while while the rest of their team regroups, man of class.
Yeah, so far it's been a very, very momentous round for Olden Board, but they've now lost their momentum a little bit. They still have some ultimates to work with, but it's becoming into a fairly even situation, and the high ground control is 100% there for VASTA, although they do give it up quite easily over here.
They do. They don't want to actually counter pressure this, just to try and be able to heal out any damage that's coming. But main one, once again from the sideline, gets picked up by Cafe. Danye, nice double kill. Danye actually showing me that I was wrong. That's a very good echo play, so we should keep an eye on that as Boger and Barrett make sure that the cap goes through. 3 minutes and 44 in the clock. So they move towards Point C, but remember, Point C Hollywood is one of the hardest nuts to crack in the entirety of Overwatch.
It very much is, and when you look at how Olden Board has been rolling through the map, they shouldn't really have an issue with it, but it's still possible that they do. We do see Snape go back over to the Ana, and I think that's a very interesting pick because Snape has been on the Ziata for most of it, but you can see that as soon as you can have more safety of the spawn behind you and the respawn advantage comes in, the Ana just increases in value like 20-fold because you don't need to go for the kills as hard as the attacking team does. The Ana provides that sleep dart, provides that deterrent in the biotic nade that Zenyatta just doesn't have.
You're right, and the only thing you need to do is make sure that Cafe can't just roll into your side lane and just make sure that you can actually do your job. That is hard with a tracer like Cafe on point, I must say. But it looks like VASTA are going to take that chance. Now the payload moving forward, just a couple of meters left to go. Julo and Nipperhawk trying to just stop that. We do see Olden Board pulling back a bit on the back of that minefield. Ding goes down, but not without taking at least someone with them. That was beautiful. VASTA Gaming need to control this for another 2.5 minutes, and that's a hard engagement.
So far, they're going to be able to control it for a little bit at least, and they have been slowing down the payload on B, now on C again. Like, it's not a complete fight win, a complete wipe that's coming out from Olden Board. And it's the same story that we saw in Volskaya. If you can stop that momentum, if you can stop that immediate snowball, you might actually be in a very good place to do that, to make that movement yourself, to snowball it yourself, and just come out on top in a map. Boger now, though, is going to be very instrumental. If those mines find a good place and deny a location where VASTA wants to fight from, this could already be over before it starts.
Yeah, and with Verbo back in the spawn room already, that opens it up once again as Cafe and Explorer just amply demonstrate. Danya goes down to a nice stick from Kage, but Kage alone is not enough to stop it, especially when Dings comes around the corner. Now Cafe onto main one. This should be the nail in the coffin. This is momentum. There's the rally coming in. Julo trying it with a pile driver, but he will not have the opportunity to stop all that damage from coming in. Now it is just Verbo. They are just swinging the chain, unable to hold it up. It was already stuck out and no one there to stop it. Maimon tries it yet again. They're still holding on to it. Nipperhawk is being set up. Yulo once again is on the point, gets flinged back here, and this is the cap. 1 minute 9 on the clock. They took a lot of time off that point here, man of class, I must say. But that being said, Old and Board's pressure play, Old and Board's waiting for Cafe to make some interaction happen and then just rolling all over it is just very beautiful in its execution. So VASTA, well, while they were able to spend a lot of time or make Old and Board spend a lot of time on this point, it didn't look very good for them from the beginning all the way to that last cap.
No, there was a lot of convincing fight wins from Old Board and not so much from VASTA. Every single time VASTA wins a fight, it feels like a clawback. It feels like they sort of got away with it. And if that feeling doesn't go, it's hard to put sometimes hard to put your words your thoughts into words, right? Where you say like, oh yeah, it's not really clear why this happened, but in this case it really is fairly clear. You can see that the momentum you can carry through in a map like this, where you can decide when you engage, where you engage, how you engage, is just so much more prevalent from the attacking side, because on the defense you need to be ready for everything. It's a dynamic we see so often where teams are really good at attack, but then their defense falls apart. And it could very well be that we see the same thing going on from VASTA here, where they're able to susceptibly devise a plan for Old Board, where they say, okay, so they're gonna hold there, and there, because that's what we do, and then we just run over that part, and the other part won't be able to help them in time. And that's exactly what happened for Old Board, where they see, oh, there's 3 on the high ground there, there's 3 over there, so we go over them, push them off, and then we have all the advantage.
Look at that, Cappy's position.
Yeah.
Look at, he's moving in, already takes Snappy down before VASTA was even able to commit anything to that fight. Snappy just ninjas it in, immediately just recalls out, and that is the strength of Cafe, and that is the danger of Cafe. Boga and Danye both go down though, so VASTA at least open up the floodgates, but it's not enough to put pressure on the actual cap point. 3 minutes and 15 on the point. VASTA Gaming need to do at least a soft reset, and then they come again.
It's a smart soft reset though, because you put yourself into a place where you go back into the full health and advantageous numbers, but Cafe just is able to be behind the enemy team and keeps on popping here.
Oh, Cafe takes down 2, looking for more, as we do see Julo trying to extend the point, trying to make sure that more than just a single third can be capped. Main one goes down after a nice pick onto Danye, but Old Board are holding the fort.
Yeah, very nicely done from Old Board to cap that back, especially from Cafe. And you heard it here for the 50,000th time, people. Check your corner. Because Cafe, it's not like Cafe is hiding that far away. You could see Cafe if you want to spot them out. Because if they can see you, you can see them. That's how that works, right? So Cafe has to now, be spotted out a little bit better, and they can't be caught out by that again. I think Cafe also realizes if I do this again, they will actually spot me because they're not that ignorant.
Yeah, it's a one-time trick only, right? Julo goes down, though, as Boga was able to just track him down. Danye looking once again with that soldier for Nipperhawk. Does a lot of damage as the high ground is getting populated with VASTA Gaming. There's the copy this time, and Wrecking Ball comes down. Main one and Julo. They will try to disrupt as much as they can, fire it in with that minefield. They actually do force the Transcendence coming up on Ding. Snappy immediately reciprocates on the side, and there it is, the visor from Danye. This time that could actually be dangerous. He's under a lot of pressure from Julo and Nipperhawk though, so has to pull back before doing an awful lot of damage. Barrett fires in the rally, trying to keep the team healthy and alive. Old Board can just do that because it's only 1 minute and 28 on the clock as VASTA need to move in yet again. Boga flies back towards the point because VASTA now going for the backline yet again. Diva Bomb coming up from Nipperhawk. Nipperhawk gets Boga. Explorer reciprocates. Snappy going down there. Both of the Diva Bombs out of the sky and out of the equation here as we move into the last minute. The second third is being taken. Cafe! Once again, good bomb, and immediately mirrored by Kage. Cafe and Kage actually tit-for-tatting this one. Explorer very low. VASTA in control of the engagement. Explorer being out-mexed. The Mini Diva being pushed away from the cap point, and this should be the cap by the reckoning of the Lord and Master. VASTA 2 versus 1 on the point. No one left, and that was close. That was to the wire. 3 minutes on the clock as we move on to point B here, man of class. And what are we going to see from VASTA's approach here?
I mean, look, it's what I said before. It doesn't feel like when VASTA wins fights, it's super convincing. It's kind of like they got away with it. And that was another one of those. By all intents and purposes, it felt like Old Board just had that locked up. Like that point was going to be held. And VASTA just manages to claw that point out of their grasp. So now that they continue here, we will have to see if VASTA can use that same momentum that Old On Board did by separating the front and back lines, by finding a part of the team they can assault. It looked like it was going to be Danye, but Danye with the health pod is going to be fine.
Yeah, MAME1 once again is looking to try and open up this DPS fight, open up a venture for VASTA to put that pressure on further. 2 minutes and 17 on the clock. The high ground, like you said earlier, highly populated by Old and Board, and they're not going to give that up because Danye can see a lot from up there and has that visor.
Yeah, VASTA is definitely ready, but that's why Snape is holding that Transcendence. They can counter it. And the Transcendence from Ding is already out. That's a good start. The second Transcendence is usually more valuable, and there it is.
There it is, there it goes. Now MAME1 once again with a copy on that Wrecking Ball. They just want that high ground clear, so they send that in. The Echoed Minefield are coming out to clear the high ground. Nipperhawk and Julo take the back line. VASTA Gaming in control of the engagement, in control of the momentum. Should be able to make sure that the payload moves forward, but it is Cafe who is just private parking that payload. He is just clinging to that guy, a man of glass.
You would normally say, oh, you leave like the Brigitte or the Zenyatta on it, but you know you can't do that because Cafe will just tear them apart. So that's why this payload hasn't moved as far as it maybe could have. It could have maybe been to that second quarter already. It does get there now, but this is maybe 1.5 fights that they still need to win, and it's 1:10 on the clock.
1 minute 10 on the clock. Kage on the side. There's a minefield out from Julo, and that just means that you have all the room to park this puppy. Nipperhawk has to fire in that self-destruct just to get a new mech out. Boga unable to touch it, but VASTA cannot relax. They cannot soft reset, and there it is. Danye has the visor, fires it out, tries to make some space here for Old and Board, tries to buy some time for Old and Board as 40 seconds are on the clock, man of class.
Oh, the reload from Yulo and the health pack. He's being completely duped and dove away by Danye. Will not actually be able to will go for another target, and Danye had to run away from that fight. So it did at least distract them by doing less DPS. And that does look like VASTA is just cleaning up this fight slowly but surely. Cafe might be coming back on the Tracer, but it does look like this point is going to be flipping over. That's a great cap from VASTA. And the problem is now they need to complete this map with time left. Otherwise, they don't get another attack. And the best they can do is a draw, and they want to go for that reverse sweep. They want to get another shot at this, so they better start putting their skates on.
Yeah, and the problem is, you know, when their counterpart were at this point, they had roughly 4 minutes to do this in. 1 minute 26 on the clock for VASTA Gaming. That's a tall order right there.
Yeah, and now we can see how the backline is actually going to be dealing with Cafe. It's a little bit more of a closed space, so you'll be able to see the flanks coming, but you still need to be in a position where you can actually deal with them too. It's actually why they send this backline all the way up to the high ground, because you would think that, oh, you sit them on the cart because they're further back. Putting them further forward puts them in the middle of their team, which means it's going to be harder for Cafe to actually get to them.
Now it is Kage. Kage moving in on the sideline, going for that back line. That stick does not do enough. Just barely misses it, but that was a very important stick to go in. Now MAME1 once again on the copy. They're trying to disrupt the minefields on the copy is coming out. MAME1, I'm really liking those Wrecking Ball copies. Danye this time with the visor. It is Cafe on the sideline who has already set it up, and it is Danye looking for more targets, cannot find it. Cafe though on the back of that. Snappy and MAME1 already going down, and we have a 30-second window of opportunity for VASTA to close this out. This is going to the wire, and like you said, they need time left.
Yeah, they do, but they cannot get time left. Like this is over in terms of being able to win this map. The best thing you can do is draw. But VASTA overcommitted in the last fight, and now the commits coming out from Old and Board. They're going aggressive. They don't want this payload to move any further. They're going to clean this up already.
They are, and Ding once again comes out, just fires those lasers. That's 3 kills up on his balance. Beautifully played. Overtime Wick is going down. That was it. Old and Board were just playing with their food. It almost seems like Julo tries to move in yet again to extend that time. Holds on for longer than I would have expected. Snappy will most likely not be able to touch it before going very, very low. Goes down. The same thing goes for Verbo. Both of the supports going down. Cappy on the sideline, trying to make sure that there are no more reinforcements. It is Nipperhawk on the point. Will not be able to get back into the mech despite using that self-destruct to get themselves back on. Julo once again jumps on. Kage and MAME1 lost. Julo is gone as well. Old and Board take the map and take the series. But This looked only like a sweep on paper.
Yeah.
VASTA Gaming holding this to the wire, making me. This is quite a hot day today here, as this is the opener for the last Contenders Trial split of this series and of this year, Man of Class. Talk us through this series. Talk us about the key points here for Old and Board to take this home.
Look, you're talking about Old and Board, and that's exactly kind of what they are. These are veteran players that have either been in Overwatch League, Contenders. You know, they've been places. They know how this works. They know how to play the game well, and you know, they show it. And what that essentially means is that when you look at a team like VASTA, who also have a lot of talent on them, but are just quite lacking that complete experience. They haven't all quite gotten to that top level yet. There's just that slight gap in there where the boredom of the old is there because they are so familiar with this game. That experience, the adaptability, it's all there, and they're consistently able to find those openings just because of the sheer amount of experience that they have on that roster. That doesn't indeed mean that VASTA didn't do well. We saw a lot of good plays come out, but you do see that, especially in terms of their DPS value, it wasn't quite able to get as much out of it. I think Kage and Cafe was a very respectable matchup, but Maimon and Danye, more often than not, just was the difference maker, where Danye is able to get a lot of value out of a soldier, where Maimon was almost one-tricking the Echo and wasn't always getting the vanilla value out of it. The duplicates were good, but not always the sticky mines, general projectile shots, and the focus beam that they were getting out of. So that might be something for VASTA to look at. Do we keep running this Echo strat? Do you think that's worth it? Do we think any other team is going to be able to do with Old and Board? But it's possible that they're going to stick with what they know, stick with what they can do, and that they do a lot better against other teams, because they were still a unit to watch out for.
Yeah, they were, and I can be sure that at least one of Old and Board is going to be very happy with the way this played out, namely Explorer playing against his former team, actually clutching out the control room or the control map with that beautiful triple kill bomb. That is one for your highlight reel, my friend. So save that one. But while we are going to talk a little bit more about Old and Board, we are going to do that after a little break when we return with with the interviewee that we have here from the winning team. So don't go anywhere. We will be back in just a few seconds. Well, as promised, we are back, still here in the Overwatch Contenders Trials, the last split of 2020. Old and Board have just won in an impressive fashion against VASTA Gaming. Still, even though it's a 3-0, it was quite close when you look at some of the plays, and instrumental in some of those plays is our interviewee, our guest, Boga. Boga, tell us about that. How is that? How does that feel? That kind of game to fire it out.
How does it feel to 3-0 after 1 year of competitive break? Pretty good, honestly. You know, 6 washed up players go in a team, scrim once, and they win 3-0 first match. I'm pretty satisfied.
So in your you know, experience of that first series, how was the teamwork with people who, like you said yourself, haven't played in a long time? Was that muscle memory? Was that just riding a bike, or did you actually have to work in order to get that synergy up we saw here on the board today?
Well, personally, I think The biggest advantage we have is that we have played this game a lot, and we have competed. All of us have competed, and actually I've competed with Cafe before in a team. So one of the main reasons I even decided to play in trials, because I honestly don't want to go pro, is because Cafe invited me, and we already have synergy between us. So that kind of set the stones, and we are all good at communicating what we want to do, how we're gonna do it. We don't even need that much scrimming to fix that. So it just kind of, after 1-2 scrims, it just went off. It just clicked.
I can fully imagine that. Now you're saying that. How did that go about anyway? Did Cafe just ring you one day and say, "Hey, I want a spot in Contenders trials. You want to hook up?" Or how did that work?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. He DM'd me. He said, I have a spot. And I was like, wait a minute, he has a spot. And then he said, want to play? I was like, wait a minute, do I want to play? And then I said, yeah. And we played, And now look at us, 3-0 first match.
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, because obviously, did you guys do like specific prep for VASTA gaming, or are you just like, no, we're just gonna play our game and we're probably gonna be fine?
My specific prep was look at the tank line, the tank heroes that I could choose, ignore them, and pick bow every game. And yeah, that was my preparation pretty much. I don't know about the rest. But
I mean, it looked like both of you were really set on, no, we're just gonna get that backline, and whatever else happens, we'll deal with that after.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys really came on top of that matchup quite a few times. What do you feel really made that happen? Because like you said, you both just went for the supports, and then afterwards somehow you got on top most times. But yeah, it's
just trust your team. I don't know. I mean, every time I died, my team carried, so pretty easy, I'm pretty satisfied with that. You gotta be bold, you gotta go in, you gotta have confidence, if you don't have that confidence, why are you even playing, there's no point.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, you came into the voice chat. One of the first things you said, how did you like that Diva Bomb? And we gotta talk about it, because the Diva Bomb on Ilios, that triple kill from Explorer, when it kind of felt like it was over, come on, how, why?
It was all planned from the beginning of the game, honestly. We knew we're gonna get capped there, and it's gonna be overtime, and just when they thought they're gonna win, we decided, we're gonna crush their spirits by a well-placed Diva Bomb and baiting them into the corner. It was pretty easy. It was from beginning, it was planned. They all fell into the trap, they activated our trap card, kind of predictable,
Wow,
Yeah.
that was not okay, but I can imagine Explorer being very happy with the results of that one. So thank you so much. Now I know you're streaming for your own people. We've seen a lot of them coming over in the chat over on the official stream. Is there anything you want to say to the people who've supported you today?
Don't get banned in chat, okay? Just be nice, okay? Appreciate it. Thank you for the support. And we're gonna 3-0 the rest of the games. Really secure.
Cool. Fantastic. That means we have to let you go for now, Burger. Good luck in the rest of the split. I'm sure we will see you as the split progresses a couple of times, and I'm looking forward to see what you can do with your ball. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to throw this into a quick break while we set up the next match for you, and we will be right back. Don't get anywhere when it is Ex-Oblivion versus Angry Titans right here on Monkey Bubble. Welcome back to the Overwatch Contenders Trials Europe, Middle East and Africa. With me is still the man of class. I'm still the Ole Monster, and we have the second game of the night just inches away from our face and just seconds away from the start. We're looking at Ex-Oblivion versus Angry Titans and man of class. Ex-Oblivion, with a roster that we've seen in Contenders, have made their way down to Trials yet again on the back of that crazy split we've had just, I think, under a week ago. And they're immediately going to face up against the Angry Titans that is, in all but name, a completely new entity. Talk us through this matchup. What are we going to expect?
I mean, so we start with Ex-Oblivion, who, they're running this roster that we've seen for quite a while. White Noise, Vastola, Cloud, Sauna, Kara, Slay. They're names we've seen around the community. They're names that we sort of connect to Ex-Oblivion right now. But when you look at this roster, a lot of these players are also the ones that you see almost get there. Look about a player like Kara, just missed out on the Dutch World Cup team for quite a few times. Just misses out on going to those top contenders teams, always just being outshone by one or two players. And the same goes for players like Sauna, Cloud, Vastola, and White Noise. Like, they've all been close to getting to one of those rosters that really makes it. And it's just a shame. I mean, that is what the Patch Pro is sort of for, where you say, like, yeah, that they need to show that they deserve to go up in the world or go up in the scene as a player. Yeah. But getting that shot is still really tough sometimes. And Ex-Oblivion, while they've been up and down from Contenders the entire year, they have been able to establish themselves in a place like that. So neither have the players. And this could be another chance for them. It's the last Trials week of the season. They could now get back into Contenders, and then, they officially are like a Contenders team at the end of it. But they still want to do better than that. They want to potentially challenge British Hurricane. They want to challenge these teams that always get to the end of it. And once again, this is another run where they're going to try and show to get that done.
I mean, Ex-Oblivion, they were a bit unlucky in their last split. I think they were sent down to the lower bracket by Obey Alliance. I would have to check the rest of the bracket to see what's going on. Angry Titans didn't have a great run of it, but the game in and of itself is El Clasico, right? Angry Titans versus Ex-Oblivion is a Contenders game in all but name. Both of these teams, known from the tier 2 scene, have been around in a long time. And looking at the roster for Angry Titans, I've already said that earlier, there is a lot of new blood. Well, I say new names, at least on their roster, but with all familiar faces. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and we were waiting for that announcement from Angry Titans, like who's actually going to be their support, because we knew that Eli was going to be on it at some point. Like, that was clear. They gotten rid of the Bombi, which was their DPS in the first place. Now they're still running with Foul. They're still running Crocs and Pure Irish. Freya was still on the roster, so the core is still there, but they added Eli onto it and Levitate. And Levitate and Eli have been both names that we've seen a lot around the scene. Like you said, they're not new names, but they're just new with this roster. And it's very exciting for me to see them, because these are players that have been, well, I would say stuck, but that have been sticking to rosters for longer periods of time. So seeing them shake it up, seeing them go with a new unit, maybe players they've played for before with a new combination, usually opens up a lot of possibilities. And the question is whether that potential is going to be reached already straight away, or whether that's going to be harder to actually realize from the get-go. And we do this thing in the Contenders Trial server where we talk to all the players, we don't talk to the coaches, and then we just do this internal predictions thing. So when you look at the prediction between these two teams, almost everybody, 84.7%, is thinking Ex-Oblivion is going to win for that reason. For that reason of their existing unit. They did a little bit better in Contenders as well in the last run. And well, they are a unit, stay together longer, so the pre-existing synergy that we already know these players together as a unit is just giving you more certainty. Then again, if you look at what they've added on at Angry Titans, I don't think they've necessarily downgraded, and whether they've actually properly upgraded, that remains to be seen in the series.
Well, yeah, and the Germans are back in Angry Titans, right? They're going back to their German roots with Eli and Levitate as the new additions. That is going to just possibly extend at least the way that the communication can go proper. Both of them very experienced players. Both of them have been around the block a couple of times, like you already mentioned, and they will just be able to maybe elevate the Angry Titans that had a very rough time in their last not only one but two contender splits. Now moving in onto Ilios here, we are going straight onto the well bit, and we already see both of the teams moving forward. Angry Titans a little bit more aggressive, at least in the first look of things here, man of VASTA.
Yeah, you cannot dive anything on Angry Titan's side. They're going to be too mobile, so they're going to be doing the aggression. And Slay and Kara have to be on their tippy toes because they will not be able to fend off the attackers for long enough otherwise.
Yeah, you do see Eli is already looking for targets. He is known for a decent tracer and will be looking to actually proving that to their new team. Now, moving on, White Noise, you know, an absolute tank unit, absolute tank entity now on Ex-Oblivion's main roster. Gets hacked out here, trying to go for that side lane. We do see Foul knowing exactly who to hack. That's a very good pile drive, though, coming out from White Noise just after the hack comes out. Crocs is the first to fall in this series, and now this should open it up wide. Cloud just actually gets pure Irish out of the mech, and the capture goes to Ex-Oblivion for the first set.
Yeah, you would say that Angry Titans, with that mobile composition, should have no trouble getting on top of Ex-Oblivion. But somehow, they're not able to actually execute that properly. Because Ex-Oblivion is really good at deterring that, at positioning in such a way that they either negate the space advantage that you have, or they just negate the full effect of a dive by not being where you thought they were going to be in the first place. And right now, it's been really good. The reaction are just on point.
Yeah, you are just hitting the nail up on the head. Now there's a copy coming in from Cloud. They are just moving in for the backline. Slay already finds Fall, so no Sombra on the point. And that just means at this point that White Noise and Vastola have free reign. Cloud with a good copy bomb. Sauna takes a double kill as well. Ex-Oblivion out for blood from the get-go.
Yeah, once every blue moon, you see one of those plays. You're just like, how did they get away with it? That was kind of one of them. But yeah, I mean, you see how Ex-Oblivion plays around it, right? There's a reason why the teams play on this side of the map on Ilios right now, because there's that high ground that Brigitte and Zenyatta can start on, but also there's a house on top of it. There's an alley next to it. It's a very cramped space. So all this space that Angry Titans could abuse, they now cannot abuse because there is none. And yeah, it's working on their favor, but Freyu is starting off this fight fairly advantageously, but getting a kill on the Cloud.
Yeah, Freyu with that Coalescence, known for very early, very aggressive Coalescence use. Good boop here, coming out to take White Noise out of Levitate. And we still see that the EMP is ready. They will most likely keep it for the next engagement, as it is now Angry Titans who are just controlling the momentum. Fall, very good kill onto Vastola. And the cap should be coming in any second now. Fall just misses that hack onto Eli, by the way. Now the capture, still not going set up. There's a sound barrier coming out. Transcendence moving in. Ex-Oblivion, they don't want to give this up until the 99% is there. Crocs with that minefield. EMP was already out. Did not do a lot of good for the Angry Titans here. 99-2. The cap now finally coming out. Ex-Oblivion being pushed into a corner, but this could just be a soft reset. Now moving out. Ex-Oblivion coming in with the Coalescence. There it is. The rally coming out from Kara as well as Cloud finds Freyu in the side lanes. Ex-Oblivion moving forward fast. Want to have that cap back as soon as they can. The only thing stopping them right now is Crocs. Crocs very low, going down. Eli actually jumping into the well, trying to possibly reset it out as Cloud just lasers onto pure Irish. The Overton Wig should be going down right now. There is someone else back onto that point. Overton Wig going down yet again as Levitate cannot hold on for dear life. Moving back in though, it is Crocs moving into the entirety of Ex-Oblivion, trying to buy that time. Goes down just as well as Fall, who tries another play. Sauna, good stick, gets pure Irish out. The Overton Wig moving up and down rapidly. This is like a heart rate monitor at this point. Moves on is Levitate. They cannot hold on in the first round. goes to Ex-Oblivion.
And we talk about win conditions, Ollie. We always say, okay, so what's the win condition for this team? Why do they run this composition? What's the point? And for Angry Titans, the point is for Fall to get hacks and EMPs off and therefore win the game because they just disable everything that Ex-Oblivion wants to do. But we barely saw any hacks, and we definitely barely saw any EMPs getting any value. So
where did that
running the
EMP
Sombra,
land?
well, exactly. That's the question, right? Like, was it stunned out? Did they just miss everybody, or did the ones they hacked not get any follow up from the rest of their team? And at this point, there's so many reasons to run Sombra, but if it's not getting value, that's the one reason why you can say, well, all of those reasons are invalid because she just doesn't do enough outside of that. And we saw Foul building a very quick second EMP, but that's the point. He got one EMP off in that entire point, and that's not enough.
Definitely not enough, especially when the entire sky is basically Cloud's territory. They can just do and come from whatever angle they want to pursue. Now we do right with White Noise for a while. Ex-Oblivion once again putting a lot of pressure, immediately going for that clash and making sure that the Angry Titans don't get their balance straight. Sorna moves into the back line, is already very dangerously close to taking out Freyu. Has to recall out of it for a while, but it is Pure Irish on the point who is giving up the first blood here on the sideline. Eli reciprocates on the White Noise and Cloud. He's not done yet, looking for further targets as he's in a fight versus Kara. Very low though at the end of the day, gets the chain to the face, and Eli is back on their backs. 10% though, already capped by the Angry Titans. So this aggressive approach by Ex-Oblivion maybe actually was to their detriment this time around, Man of Class.
Yeah, it might have been, but you see how the map is so different, and eventually they're going to
White Noise!
White Noise.
White Noise! Oh, in any stretch, I wouldn't have expected White Noise just to go in, clear up that point with a double kill, goes in for number 3 right there, counter caps that point, and now the time is ticking for Ex-Oblivion, and Angry Titans, who looked quite confident in that first little engagement, need to rethink their strategy yet again.
I mean, they do have a quick EMP from Foul if they can get that off, but this time around it needs to find that value. It's what we're going to be talking about again and again until Foul either swaps or starts getting that value. And so far it hasn't been coming out, but it's online right now.
Yeah, that is right. The high ground is being contested as Angry Titans move up into the backyard of Ex-Oblivion. Foul just goes on to Slay, doesn't even bother with an EMP, just takes out that Zenyatta. There it is. The EMP comes out as a response to the minefield out of White Noise. The backup or the follow-up on the back of that EMP, not as impressive as anyone would have hoped, especially as Pure Irish gets lasered down here. Pure Irish in the mini diva, still in the fight, but needs to look out for themselves as we swap over to Eli, who is hunting Volskaya down with the help of Croc. And Angry Titans, they are still not in control of the payload. Still a lot of, I would say, skirmishes just around that payload rather than a concerted push into this Man of Glass. The payload is still open. Well, control point is still open. This time though, Angry Titans find their kills on the back of Pure Irish and Levitate being awake and being able to counter the 74% for Ex-Oblivion. A lot of time to defend, but we've seen worse things.
The main job of that EMP was to just push Ex-Oblivion apart. It didn't even get that much. You got like the minefield, and I think maybe White Noise got hacked by it. Yeah. But everyone else was sort of in the point, and they got blocked by a wall, etc. But at least Fall got another EMP up quickly. So like I said, they're just beating Slay in the Transcendence race, and this might be where that win condition starts paying off.
Yeah, Eli getting stuck there a second ago and then just recalls to get away from it. Tries to fire their own one in, but I think they landed it into a wall. So both of the Tracers and especially Eli, while very good in the defensive side, could have been better. Cloud, nice beam onto Foul, and he is still not done. Moving in to try and find some more fire onto that point. Pure Irish gets pushed out, gets pushed away from the control point, and the capture is already halfway done for Ex-Oblivion. You see the difference here. You see the fact that Ex-Oblivion goes in with more determination in their actions. Good EMP, Eli and Foul able to capitalize on the back of it, but White Noise is able to get that minefield off before they get hacked yet again.
not a problem though, because they never lost control of the point, and now it's going to be over 90%, and Angry Titans is in full control. They can actually deter this recap to come out, and they might not even get to overtime, because it doesn't look like Exo is going to be able to come back outside from Cloud, and Cloud does barely to... No, it's going to be Sauna that touches, but does go down.
Sauna goes down, and immediately afterwards you see White Noise moving in. The rest of EXO is back in, but they're one player down. They need to move in. The rally comes out from Kara, and Slay still has the Transcendence Diva Bomb firing in from Cloud on the nice copy. They're trying to clear out the real estate and make sure that they can do the renovations proper. Sauna in a fight here versus Eli, and Fall has to pull back. Good stick! But immediately gets ghosted away by Freyu. Nice response from the Moira on the side of the Angry Titans. Sauna and Slay now, they'll find their value. 78%, the cap back to Ex-Oblivion. Lost fight territory this time. The other one is on the button.
It's Fall time. This is Fall's moment. If Fall hits a good EMP here, this fight could be over before it actually takes place, and they could just clean it up. They're looking for that Sombra. I think they found Fall. I think they almost found Fall, but they actually didn't. There's the EMP. It hacks at least 3.
EMP, 3 people down. You already see Pure Irish picking out 2 of them. White Noise and Sauna are going down. That is very good to know. Vestola actually gets hacked out. Cloud unable to hold on, and it looks like the Angry Titans can equalize. Overtime Wig still up, but should be going down quickly. Moving in on the sideline once again. White Noise and Sauna jumping back in. Vestola finally gets killed. Levitate with a double kill. Just pushes White Noise out, and the Overtime Wig now goes down. Kara unable to touch it. You do see a very aggressive defense from Crocs coming out, but once again a good touch. Slay and Sauna unable to touch more than a tippy toe on there though. Now a good copy by Cloud is trying to extend it. The Overtime Wig is back in. So is White Noise. There's a Diva Bomb on the mine. Crocs with the minefield gets Vestola. The Diva Mine not as instrumental as I thought. 1-1, Ex-Oblivion and Angry Titans. I promised you a classic, ladies and gentlemen out there, and a classic is what you're gonna get.
Finally, Fall is starting to find their strides. It was a bit rusty on the EMPs early on, but both Fall and the rest of their team able to combine that EMP with follow-up, combine the hacks with follow-up, and as long as that keeps happening in the series, you're going to have a bad time where you're Ex-Oblivion. Especially Slay is just under so much pressure in this series.
Oh, yeah.
And now we go to we went to Lighthouse, we've been on Well, and now we get to Ruins, which Ruins is the hardest part to play against the Sombra on, because it's so open. You'll never be able to check for her. It's so open that you don't really have any places to hide for an EMP. And it's also so open that the rest of the other team can just jump on you after an EMP. So the follow-up will almost always be there. And switching to a Sigma here and to a Soldier is already an indication that Ex-Oblivion is trying to figure out something to do against that Sombra, because this doesn't look like a composition they might traditionally be running.
I mean, look at looking at the DPS setup on Angry Titans, right? They are consistently at least being pestered by Kara. I need to commend Kara over there. They're just holding up under the pressure of these 2 side laning flanking champions. Now though, the fight is on the way. White Noise has some opening, tried to clear at the point, but it's the Angry Titans who are controlling the momentum. Cloud with a good shot onto Freyu. Vestola onto Levitate, and this is falling apart quickly for the Angry Titans. Ex-Oblivion, they are with a little bit more control in this engagement, and that means that the point is already ticking up. While the point is already ticking up for the Angry Titans, the point is now flipped. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I know you were going with that one. That's okay, Ollie. We're going to be seeing the flip indeed come out. No ultimate channel line for anybody. The Tracers are trying to get close to it, but Fall once again. It's not a rapid EMP charge. It's getting there, but it's not quite the pace that we saw, at least on the last map. So has to step that up once again. And like you said, Kara is a big part of that, being able to deny so much damage from that Sombra by deterring her.
Yeah, it's not just the Sombra. I mean, we do see Eli mostly going for the tank side lanes. You already see him take out White Noise after a good hack. Good stick onto Cloud, and Eli is now looking for more. We do see a lot of pressure coming up from Angry Titans on the back of that, because now they have the advantage. Freyu fires in another one of those aggressive coalescences, and the cap should be coming in. Vestola hangs on to dear life here in the back. On the back of that barrier that they were able to set up. Cloud is finally able to get rid of Eli. White now's got minefield, gets Crocs and Pure Irish out of position. Ex-Oblivion holding on to this, but Angry Titans, I like the aggression. You just need to finish the execution you set up for yourself.
It's so tough to finish the execution when one of your DPS just keeps translocating out, though. Like, Fall is under so much pressure here. Actually could have had that EMP completely ready there. Could have maybe even forced out the Transcendence from Slay with that. Now they're going to try an EMP. They're going to try and get something on the Slay before they can Transcend. But it's going to be so tough to do.
Oh, there it is. The visor is already coming out. Fall has that EMP, but will not be able to get anywhere close to 85% on the point. Cloud has to run for dear life. Eli in the back, on the back of that. Good. Prophetic Flux gets Levitate out of commission. Pure Irish no longer on the board. Fall can hold on to that EMP, should hold on to that EMP, but they need to extend that timer as conservatively as they can. Oh, the EMP gets cancelled. Sauna with the double kill on the back of a nice move here. There it is, a sound barrier coming out from Levitate. They're just trying to make sure that they have another shot at this, but the EMP being failed is a huge detriment as White Noise goes down on the back of a Diva Bomb. The capturing is still happening. Freyu, another one of those coalescences, making some space, getting Pure Irish back into fighting strength. The cap has been done. Now taking up for the Angry Titans. Ex-Oblivion had to reset. And look at that. Fall gave up on the EMP, gave up on the Sombra, and is now on the... what's her face? Widow.
Widowmaker. Yeah. It's...
I've been counting Overwatch for years. I mean, what could possibly happen?
I know, right? No, I mean, it's interesting that you see Fall go over to it, and it's not just that they like gave up on the Sombra, it's also because it's an overtime fight. You're going to try and get quick picks. That's why you see the heroes like Doomfist, Widowmaker, you know, those type of heroes come out because they have that immediate burst potential. And another reason is also Festola is Alpha Sigma, so that barrier is not in your way anymore when you got the shields. There's not that constant threat of the Sigma just blocking you out. Unfortunately, though, Sonic can still come and get you, Fall.
Oh, and this time Crocs fires in the minefield. Good stick from Sauna, trying to make sure that Pure Irish has no leg to stand on. Goes in for more, but it is Crocs at the end of the day that puts a pin in it. Crocs very low, needs to run away from Kara. Kara moving in, had that rally up, and is now pushing their team in on towards that point. 99 versus 82. The cap is almost there for Ex-Oblivion. Cloud with that visor, takes down Croc, looks for further target, fires it in. Another coalescence coming out from Freyu. He just built it like other people chewing gum. The overtime week very low to going back in, and Ex-Oblivion should be able to hold in their real estate. They're just pushing away whatever the Angry Titans bring in until Crocs comes from the side. Oh, that is nice. A good pile drive onto Slay. Could open this wide open. Diva Bomb does not find another target, but that just means Ex-Oblivion were able to hold on to it. First map, very, very hard contested. And Ex-Oblivion were under pressure a couple of times where I thought, okay, the Titans are there. They're here to win. And the El Clasico is on its way, man of class. I'm giddy. I want more.
Of course you want more. You always want more, Ollie. Let's be real here. But yeah, it's been such a close series, but it does feel like Ex-Oblivion has that control. And that's not so much just on their own good play. It really is good play what they're doing, especially deterring that Sombra, doing a lot against Eli. That also needs to come in on that Tracer a lot of the time. But Angry Titans is also being very stubborn about that Sombra play. Like, I know Fall is an amazing DPS. I think we all know. Like, they have the mechanics that the game sense, right? Like every player does in this level at some stage. But you're looking at a place where the EMP found mixed value. It did very well on the second point. It didn't do great on A. They got it canceled on point B, and the timing is often just off. Like, Foul isn't able to initiate when Angry Titans wants to. Then he has to translocate out and has to come back in, and that timing is everything that it's about. It's not just about hitting the EMP, it's about hitting the EMP at the right moment. I'm sure you're all familiar with it when you're in your own games. You know, there's that Sombra on your team that doesn't communicate communicate with the team than just using the EMP when everyone's still in spawn or when everyone's not ready for it or when everyone's already dead, something like that. And then the Sombra essentially feels like she's not doing anything or she doesn't exist. And that's not exactly what happened here with Angry Titans, but that's a similar sort of effect where because the timing isn't quite there, you miss about 80% of the value that an EMP or even hacks can have. So I would like to see Angry Titans clean that up more, be it more like it was on point B, but it's going to be very tough against the way that the backline of Ex-Oblivione specifically is playing, and even Vestola that's working out very well against it.
Yeah, Vestola doing a good job in general. I mean, overall, we know Vestola as one of those off tanks that can play anything, but I'm really loving that Sigma play. We saw that already on the Ruins, and it's working out for whatever they're doing. Ex-Oblivione now in green and on the attack. They need to be moving in through that choke. Looks like they're taking a little bit of time before making the call for which angle they're going to take here, Man of Class.
It's not just the angle, they're just switching up their composition to White Noise going over to the Orisa. And I'm not saying that Orisa is a bad hero. I don't think that's the case. It's just, it's a strategy that's hard to execute on a map like this where you have such a long approach. You can't just set up defensively and keep using that shield. So they're doing a great job though because Fal's already down. And once again, the Sombra Deterrent team is coming out on top.
Moving up, Kara trying to get rid of Levitate. He goes very low. At the end of the day, Slay is there to use that DPS Baptiste to clear this fight out. Sauna, nice shot onto Eli, and it looks like Ex-Oblivion want to make this a quick one. Moving in fast, Pure Irish comes from the side, gets Sauna cleared out, but I don't think anyone is going to touch this on the side of the Angry Titans.
It's so far really been Fall saying Sombra goes zoom, and then Kara saying no, but Brigitte goes boom, so it doesn't work that way. It's really been tough. Already stopped one of the EMPs coming out, keeps being able to spy check really well against it too. So Fall, while they've actually built up a pretty quick EMP charge here, 70% already, it's just, can they actually get it off without any harm?
Now moving in, Sauna on the side lanes. There's another coalescence here. Freyu once again firing that laser show. And the hack onto Vestola could actually help you out quite a bit. Fall very close to that EMP. They could use that to alleviate a lot of pressure. Cloud is there. Ex-Oblivion with a good double kill on the back of that
Another
visor.
cancel!
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Fall is just not having a good day. This is crazy. And look at the time back, 4 minutes 46, and it is not looking good as Ex-Oblivion are just planting their flag down here. It's 4 minutes 40 on the clock, ramp 1 complete. When have you last seen that, Man of Class, in this level of play? When have you last seen that?
I mean, look, I think we all remembered that one Seagull video where they got like 1 minute 17 cap on a Temple of Anubis. This is not quite as fast. This is 2 minutes 20, but it's still ridiculous, that speed with which that goes on. And another EMP canceled from Foul. This is the moment where Angry Titans has got to say that they're stop running to Sombra. I mean, I know it's your win condition. I know you've been practicing for it, but it's simply not working because Ex-Oblivion has got you completely red. If they can consistently stun EMPs out, they can deny you that value from an ultimate that has such a big impact on your entire gameplay, your gameplay style, your composition, then you cannot in all good consciousness say it's still working. You cannot in all good consciousness say, oh, we might still be able to make this work. And before the match started, we talked about Kara. We said there's a reason why they're so, like, they are a really good player, but the reason why you maybe not have heard so much is because they're always slightly being outshunned or overlooked by teams for certain positions. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing if Kara can keep up this performance, because so far it's definitely looking very scary for any DPS to play against a Brigitte. And she hasn't even gotten the health buff on this patch yet. Remember we talked about that? This is not even that patch yet. So imagine how scary Kara will be when that goes live.
Oh yeah, Kara is just an absolute beast already. Buffing the beast is not very good for your health. And Angry Titans will be able to attest to that. Now they have to go on the attack. They have to get in there. And with Ex-Oblivion showing us that they can hold a point for a long time already on control, this is going to be either a very quick one or a very, very tough one. We'll see as Ex-Oblivion now need to try and hold a little bit. Eli on the side, though, gets White Noise out, looks for further targets, gets deterred there on the side by Sauna, and we will see that matchup a couple more times because Sauna is there almost every time Eli goes for a play. Crocs on the side, boops Kara off. It's bye-bye birdie. Nicely done.
I thought you were going to go for bye-bye Brigitte there, but you did actually go for the birdie. I like it. We're going to be seeing White Noise and Cloud, though, get a few kills back, and Slave falls. It's really a back and forth with the attack spot advantage. It looks still good for Angry Titans, but Ex-Oblivion is not giving it up for free.
It is not, and Ex-Oblivion will be fighting very hard. Eli on the sideline goes in. Sauna has to get back. Foul is there once that recall comes out, and they are getting this point. At least it looks like they are on the point, on the high ground still. White Noise and Cloud. Akara comes back in just as well. The stick does not stick. Too bad for the pulse bomb here on Eli, who goes down to a right click by Cloud. Right now, while there is still some skirmishing up on the high ground, it does look... No, Ex-Oblivion now jumping in. White Noise going up. Vestola coming in from the other side with a bit of a crossfight. Cloud onto Crocs here. Angry Titan still not able to close the deal. 2/3 already down, but Ex-Oblivion take the point back, and they're saying no and down.
66%, at least the 2 ticks have been capped. That's a good start, and only 1 tick is pretty hard to defend sometimes. But you're not in an ultimate advantage position, and this is where it comes out. Can Fall get an EMP off? Can it happen? Kara's looking for it. They're spy checking, but Fall's waiting. They're crouching
bookies
closer.
are waiting for your bets, ladies and gentlemen. There's the EMP, and this time it hits at least 3 people. White Noise, Vestola, and Kara are set up, but there is no follow-up coming in from the Angry Titans. Actually, Pure Irish under a lot of pressure. Cloud, once again, has another one of those visors. Needs to keep the back line clear on Ex-Oblivion's side, and they're just trying to make sure that no one can actually touch any of the back line. 1 minute 25 on the clock, and we see Angry Titans struggling with the momentous task ahead of them.
It's such a perimeter defense thing. Like, they really keep a ring, a hot pocket around that Zenyatta of Slay. There's no way they're ever going to get hacked by Fall in the slightest. And that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, no, you might have that Sombra, you might have a win condition, but you still can't execute it. And still Crocs just boops you off the map. Bye-bye, Cloud.
Bye-bye, Cloud this time around. Sauna, though, gets onto Pure Irish. Another one of those Freyu coalescences. They're trying to make sure that the pressure is up onto Ex-Oblivion, but Kara, once again, just fires in the ultimate. Make sure that Ex-Oblivion is healthy enough to withstand the pressure, and that is just what you need. You need that metal door that just holds back all of the pressure like you're in a nuclear reactor, and that's exactly what Kara is doing. Eli and Levitate, though, now this time it is real. Levitate, good double kill, even though Eli goes down. The cap is there. 3 minutes and 22 on the clock. Angry Titans have a shot, but they need to snowball it now, or it's going to be hard.
Yeah, they could definitely do it. I mean, they have the ultimates to work with. There's not as much online on the other side, but it's all gonna once again rely on how much can you shut down Slay, how much can you ignore Kara's value, and Fall is of course a big part of that. But also Pure Irish and Eli can help out with that a lot in terms of their DPS, in terms of their pressure. So I want to see more help in the setup that Fall has to make in order to get those hacks off, because it's not just Fall's fault.
Yeah, it's not just Fall's fault. While his positioning and the, let's say, opportunism, I would say, that a Sombra needs was not fully there. It's the rest of the team that just doesn't give the pressure forward that you need for a Sombra to succeed. Freyu, though, coalescences onto White Noise, gets them down, and you do see that Pure Irish follows up. There's another visor on Cloud, and Cloud is looking for their targets. There's a Diva Bomb up on the point. Does not find a lot of targets. Well played here as the Transcendence comes out from Slay. Ex-Oblivion trying to hang on to it. The first third slowly gets fired up. Fall with another EMP in the tunnel. Doesn't really do anything as far as I can say this time around, and Pure Irish with a Diva Bomb, only a single setup. So this combination didn't work out as well as they would like it to be on the side of the Angry Titans. You do see maybe the roster still needs to adapt to each other's playstyle here, man of class.
it's another disappointing EMP, honestly. Like, they were trying to go after Slay, like solo EMP Slay, take them out, but they also invested a bomb. So it was actually the self-destruct that was going to get that kill in the first place anyways. Slay had already used the Transcendence. So yeah, it's another EMP that just doesn't find what it needs to, or comes out too late, or in the wrong position. It's the same story that we keep repeating, and it's annoying for me as well to keep hammering onto it, because really there's a lot of good to talk about in Angry Titans, but as long as an EMP doesn't come out, I mean, it doesn't even matter to talk about that.
Now moving up, Eli once again in a fight versus Sauna on the sideline. Has that bomb ready, looking for white noise, but will most likely not try and just stick it out onto the big monkey. Has to recall, so that at least make sure that Eli can't do any direct shenanigans. Tries it anyway, though. Freyu very close to another one of those coalescences. How does he do that? It's absolutely crazy. Dead Sauna down, and will be going for a lot of heal on Pure Irish here. Now still moving in with them. It is Cloud who takes down Croc, and the first third has been capped. The second third is no longer contested. 30 seconds on the clock, Man of Glass. Ex-Oblivion looking absolutely in control.
Yeah, this looks like a very clear 2-0 to me, but there is a potential for the Angry Titans to do something. It's going to be tough, though, without any of those ultimates. It's a minefield and a coalescence, and while they're good ultimates, they're usually not enough to win a fight against what the sheer amount that Ex-Oblivion has built up. The real win condition is maybe, once again, Falcon build up an EMP, and they can wait it out for long enough for Slay's Transcendence to be gone.
Sauna has the bomb, will be looking to jump into the fray. Cloud with the visor. Now they're firing everything in. The coalescence is coming out from Freyu. The overtime wickets now running. 1 versus 1. Cloud versus Freyu. And at the end of the day, both of them have to pull back. It is Kara who fights the first one to levitate. It is still 1-1 on the point. The second tick will not be able to set up because White Noise is there with the bubble. You do see a very, very low Crocs trying to set it up. Sauna comes in, takes Pure Irish and Crocs out. That's EMP. And that EMP could just be huge, but it is Sauna and Slay who do the damage. Eli unable to capitalize on the back of it. Ex-Oblivion takes it 2 maps down. And the only thing in this entire series that Angry Titans did right, in my opinion, was that last engage. The only thing. In a 10-minute match, you can't do that when you're playing Ex-Oblivion. I know you have a new roster, but get on it, people.
It's been such a struggle for Angry Titans, and like you said, we know they have a new roster, but these are all such experienced players. There's no reason for them to make these, I wouldn't say basic mistakes, but to be this stubborn about it. Like, it's fine if a Sombra doesn't work out every now and then. We've seen it happen in plenty of teams, but the answer isn't keep banging your head against the wall until it sticks, because Ex-Oblivion has proven they can, even if you get an EMP off, you still won't get enough team fight wins with it. And it's just too much right now. Like, I'm truly baffled as to why do you keep running this? Because we know that Fall is not a Sombra one trick. We know they can play plenty of other things. There's no reason for them to keep sticking on it other than believing that it's going to be their win condition someday.
Yeah, at this point, you're playing around the win condition that has proven fruitless. You know?
To not win, really. Yeah, has been a condition that's been met. So
I mean, it's like you know, having this super weapon and then just deciding to fire it in the wrong direction, and that's what happened at least 4 out of the 6 EMPs we've seen. So switch it up, Angry Titans. We know you can do this. We know you have it in you. I know you have a new roster, but you know, I shouldn't be rooting for anyone, but please, I need a reverse sweep here. I just need it.
I know.
I just need at least 1 map from the Angry Titans. Come on, my German buddies, just make it happen. Now, looking at the support lineup, you know, we've seen Kara, we've praised her, but how good is Frey? How good is Freyu on that Moira?
Yeah, always. We always talk about it. I think Freyu is like one of your favorite supports, definitely your favorite Moira player in EU. I know that much. Oh, yeah. It's one of those things. Like, yeah, they build up a lot of coalescences. They do a lot of work, but it's like a coalescence is only as good as the amount of targets you can hit with it in the same duration. And with the current meta, where everything is just very fast, very mobile, can always dodge and duck and dive out of the way, it's a lot harder to not even get the healing off as Moira, but also to get the damage and the healing during your coalescence off as Moira. And we've seen Freyu can build a lot of coalescences fast still. It still happens. But the way that Moira is healing, it's very tough for Freyu to do the healing while the tanks are also still fighting. That's why why Zenyatta and Brigitte are usually getting more value nowadays, because they can do healing for further away while they're still peeling for each other. And Freyo and Levitate are putting themselves in a lot more trouble by having to go in, by having to engage a bit more. And it's a shame, really. I mean, it's really good heroes for them, but it seems like the meta isn't quite fitting what Angry Titans kind of wants to play. It feels like they're a few patches behind with this.
I mean, yeah, you most likely are right though. Levitate on the Lucio doing a fantastic job. We've seen some very good zoning plays. We've seen that that last sound barrier that he fired out. Those were all good ideas. The follow-up just wasn't the follow-up just wasn't there on that side. And once again, you know, there is no fault I can find in Eli. The most fault I do find is in the tank line and in Foul not picking up the slack this time around.
Yeah, and we're going to go to Hollywood, which could potentially already be the last map of our first day, Ollie. It could already be over after this. And, I mean, that would be sad if it went this quickly. We had a really good first series, but this one just is not really living up to its potential, I'm feeling like. And that's not because of Ex-Oblivion. Like, we keep saying, they're doing an amazing job. That backline is just uncatchable. And even when they're finally caught, Angry Titans just sacrifices so much for it that they lose the fight anyways. So I want to see Angry Titans start to live up their potential. I don't want to see Ex-Oblivion play worse. You know, that would not be fun. I want to see Angry Titans start to play better. And already now setting up their defense, they're making that one crucial change. Well, actually, a lot of crucial changes, but the one crucial change they make is that they're not wanting to play around the Sombra anymore. And that completely changes up everything they do. Eli will still be on the Tracer, Crocs will still be on the ball, but everyone else is on different heroes. Freyo on the Zenyatta, Levitate on the Brigitte, Foul on the Soldier, and Pure Irish on the Sigma. So they're going way more for that same style that we've seen the other teams play today. And honestly, if you are 2-0 down and you're going to change anything, this is probably a very good route to go. Play what is sort of considered to be meta for everybody right now.
Not only that, we have seen Pure Irish's Sigma, I believe last split, and it's a good Sigma. So bringing that out of your toolbox, no longer having to rely on the pure speed and power, you know, to copy Jeremy Clarkson here. That is going to be an interesting change in the entire dynamic of this fight. A little bit more set in stone, a little bit more set piece battles, yes, but it's not going to be less exciting for it. We do see Sauna and Eli once again firing it out on the side lane, already moving in. We do have the fight between Angry Titans and Ex-Oblivion. Ex-Oblivion up on top. Vestola with the double kill, and that is just the story of their lives. Vestola on that Sigma is crazy.
Yeah, you know, I was saying before, like, why would you just not swap off of the Sombra? Well, you can see here the example of why teams usually try to not swap off the composition they've been playing forever. Because it's a composition they've been playing forever and they haven't practiced this particular thing. Crocs is doing a pretty good job on the Wrecking Ball still, like actually able to deny some high ground. But with these new elevators, that means very little because you can just get back up like 2 seconds later. It's a bit of a shame for that situation. But yeah, I mean, the pieces that were working for Angry Titans might still be working.
Oh, he misses the stick just barely. That could have been massive. Freyu still going down at the end of the day. Crocs with a good double kill. There's the Visor coming up from Cloud. Cloud looking for some targets, but it's Crocs on the sideline who makes sure that that Cloud will not get out of that one alive. Crocs now looking for a fight versus Vestola. Vestola getting very low, but at least the payload has stopped moving, and we all have some breathing room here.
Yeah, it will be another attempt here for Ex-Oblivion to get further forward. But you see all the damage that keeps coming out onto Angry Titans. They never have a really relaxed moment where they can set up. They are now sort of calm on the high ground. They do have the space to work with and the ultimates to work with. But Ex-Oblivion is definitely going to be ready to receive with what they've got in the bank.
Now you do see Crocs has that minefield, is looking for the top side to get something done. Foul with the Visor, most likely just trying to have some deterrence to keep Ex-Oblivion away from the point. Keep that clock ticking, because that's exactly what you need. Eli gets healed back up. The rallies is coming out from both of the Brigittes right here. The payload, I think, slowly but surely moving. So now would be the time to actually engage, and that's what Angry Titans are trying to do. They lose Pure Irish, they lose Croc. Eli once again with the bomb, does not find a target. Vestola is relentlessly pushing this forward, and there is nothing Angry Titans are doing about it right now. They are just splintered and in the backline, man of class.
I mean, they're sending Eli finally after together with Crocs, and I think that's indeed Foul coming back in, but it's just not enough. They're splitting themselves up so much, and Angry Titans is just not able to capitalize on either of these fights or either of these locations where they're fighting right now. And it's really showing that the execution of this composition is just not something they've even remotely prepared for as much as they have for that Sombra composition. So once more, that dynamic of if you haven't prepared for it as much, you can still run it because everyone else does. So it probably works meta-wise. But if your execution isn't there, then you're still going to lose this matchup because the mirror is what Ex-Oblivion is going to be better at.
Cloud and Sauna on the hunt. They are going for the entire high ground setup that Angry Titans have prepared. Now Cloud with a good right click onto Eli could open it up. Sauna is very low but has some fire to do. Foul gets in with the visor, knows that they have to make sure that they don't let Ex-Oblivion just move past the point they were standing. Yet again, just like they did on point B. White Noise is on the side lane. Angry Titans still in the fight right now. But now, Ex-Oblivion, they're going for it. There it is, another rally, another minefield, and Sauna and Slay with some more kills as Kara makes sure that Croc stays parked. And this should be over. This should be over right now, and there it is. 3 minutes and 32 on Hollywood.
Yeah, you blink and it was over. Like, especially the last point, that just didn't happen. The first and last point, there was some fighting going on point B. There was some, like, semblance of a defense being built by Angry Titans over there, where they could finally use their high ground to their advantage, use that open space, their mobility, but it just didn't come out on any other parts of the map, and didn't even come out for that long. So Ex-Oblivion, once again, showing that they're just the better team today. Like, at this point, Angry Titans really needs a miracle to come back into this, and while they can have a good attack, I'm fully expecting them to definitely put up at least a good fight for this. It's not looking like they're going to be able to, in the current position, be able to challenge Ex-Oblivion. And what was turning out to be like we were expecting like a classic, two teams that are constantly in contenders, are constantly moving up and down. It was looking like this was going to be a good game. But unfortunately, Angry Titans, it looks like the adaptations that they've made and the meta they've prepared for is just not meeting their expectations.
It's not. It's really not. And it's not meeting the expectations of the people who are here to watch Angry Titans rise back up to glory. Ex-Oblivion in control of every engagement, in control of every fight. They are able to soft reset out of most most engagement launched by their opponent, and that just means that they have this waveform where they just pull back for 5 seconds, go back in, and absolutely run over Angry Titans' plans. It is something that is very hard to overcome as Angry Titans. I realize that, but it's something you need to overcome if you want to be back in contenders here next season.
If you want to be the very best like no one ever was, you got to catch all those compositions and, train them. That's how it works. So,
is that why they call it a poke composition, because it's Pokemon?
Yeah. Exactly,
Okay.
That's exactly what it is. It's a pokey composition, but they do poke composition to make it easier.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Slay gets Crocs down on the sideline, and we do see Ex-Oblivion are being pushed back as Cloud falls down to Eli. Angry Titans, they're moving in with that anger, with that aggression that we have shown us a couple of times, but they lose pure Irish yet again. No more tank, or one less tank at least on their point, and that could just be detrimental. But Freyo and Croc especially coming back. Good stick onto Levitate though by Sauna right here as the contest is still moving up. Sauna is costing so much time and so much nerves to Angry Titans at this point, even though they are still on the point. They're still trying to set it up. Ex-Oblivion are now coming back with a vengeance. Pure Irish also back and is in a fight versus White Noise. Now it's the Angry Titans who are going for the reset here.
Angry Titans already in trouble, already a minute and a half down. They cannot even become close to matching this time back anymore at this rate because they're going to take too long. But at least they've got some ultimates to work with. But so does Ex-Oblivion. It's just such a matchup. It's going even in fight and results.
Oh, look at that. That's a huge ultimate coming out. Vestola just putting the entire team into suspension. And while well, Freyu had that Transcendence up. Not a lot of damage was done, but it will cost you a lot of time and will tilt your plan of attack, if you so will stop your momentum forward through that side lane. Cloud with the visor on the side lane, trying to get something done as they move in to flank from the back. Kara moves in, has that rally up, moves up. Vastola and Sorna find their targets. Kara keeping a lot of people alive here. Ex-Oblivion get pure Irish and fall out, and that means another attack that proves fruitless, and they invested so much here, man of glass.
Oh, it's all about speed and power right now for Ex-Oblivion. They go in, they make a big burst, and if it doesn't work, they just back off and then they go back in again. It's all about that quick wave, that quick dive, that quick... It's not even a poke, it's just a burst attack straight away. And they're able to find their opening so well, but this time around, Crocs is in position to spawn camp Kara.
Yeah, Kara goes down quite quickly. That might be a good opener. Foul fires in the visor, just uses it as a deterrent to make sure that Ex-Oblivion doesn't come out of the gate. But maybe that was just a tad early. Eli coming in from the side in a fight with Vastola. They're now just shield dancing around this. But you do see, once again, Ex-Oblivion takes your Irish and Levitate out of the game. And that just means that they can do what they want. Clean up the rest of the point. 40 seconds on the clock. Not even a second tick completed for the Angry Titans here.
No, we're talking about not mechanical outplay. That's not what's happening here. It's the team play that's really making the difference. The follow-up from White Nose's stomps, the follow-up from Vestola's plays with the accretions, the follow-up from everything that's happening right now in Ex-Oblivion is there. There's nothing that is not being done as a team that cannot be said from Angry Titans. It's another one. You see the follow-up. It's straight away there. They get the kills. All of this fight's cleaned up before it even starts.
Yeah, Sorna actually was very close to firing that bomb in, and then with the pull-up, that would have been a massacre. Absolutely disastrous. This time, they just, quote-unquote, lose the conventional way, but at the end of the day, the overtime rig is already running. There's just one person on the fight. That's Crocs. Crocs is trying to extend the time. There's a minefield coming up from White Noise. White Noise actually stays alive, even though Eli jumps in. Levitate finally closes the door onto the Hammond for Ex-Oblivion. Cloud with another visor tries to clear the sight lines as Angry Titans move in yet again. Sorna just looking for a couple of more kills. They want to close the door on this. Pure Irish and Levitate, though, they find their target. Pure Irish now on the Reinhardt. They're looking to extend this timer. The second tick almost there. There it is. 3 persons on the point. 5 versus 1. 6 versus Nord. Are they going to give them point A? Yes, they're extending the time. 2 minutes and 30 on the clock. Now the question is Ex-Oblivion playing with their food? Or was this just a genuinely good engagement?
Is it genuine surprise that Pure Irish just runs in with a Reinhardt and a Frey who's still on the Moira? It provides a lot of sustain and a lot of burst damage if you come too close, and it just deterred Ex-Oblivion for enough. Asana does immediately make a statement, say, you know what, it's not going to be that easy. I'm just going to stick Levitate. He's going to spawn camp the Brigitte for the rest of the game. So that's probably a matchup that we see happening. Well, not happening, because it's happening on the other side of the map. I think they're still waiting. Yep, there they are. That's going to be Levitate in trouble.
Levitate is in some form of trouble. Sorna once again coming in from this side. We've seen that a good Tracer will just absolutely destroy your backline, and especially when they're just doing these camp strats. We saw that in the last series. That worked very well. We saw it in this series where it worked very well. So check your corners, rookies. Check your corners.
Yeah, it's not as easy as just saying, oh, you're going to be Brigitte counter Tracer, because that just shows that it really doesn't. Eli now is trying to do the same thing, trying to catch Sauna off guard and trying to catch Sauna out here. We'll actually find that kill. It's a good opener that frees up a lot of space for your backline, but now you still have to go through this minefield from White Noise.
Yeah, White Noise already gets Pure Irish stuck out. Levitate actually gets stuck and is able to survive this for a while. Beautifully played as Angry Titans. They are still moving in aggressively, but they're losing every engagement on the board. Fall goes down. Levitate goes down. Cloud also finds Freyu and now moves into Eli while Crocs is being sawn out. It is 40 seconds on the clock for Angry Titans yet again, and this payload hasn't moved an awful lot here, man of glass.
Yeah, they're just moving back over to that meta composition. Freyo back on the Zenyatta. Had, of course, Coalescence that they wanted to use. But now they're going to be trying to frag out, help that Discord Orb. But that makes a big difference. Freyo not having that Discord Orb just gives Ex-Oblivion so much more finishing power. It's 30% damage boost, but that stick is bigger!
There goes your support line with a flash and a bang. Sauna once again added. This time White Noise goes onto Pure Irish. Sauna and Kara looking for more, looking for further targets. 9 seconds on the clock. Angry Titans once again in a pinch. Once again needing to extend the timeline. This time they do spawn a bit further away from the payload than they did from the control point. There's no one to touch. Ex-Oblivion takes the series here and takes it in. I'm not going to say it was impressive. I'm just going to say it was what it was. It was one-sided. That's just what this game was, man of class.
It was very much one-sided, and there's no real way around it. And I don't think, I truly don't think it has to do with Angry Titans being a bad team.
No.
I think they just made a few poor choices in their well, really their preparation and leading up to this. Because if you look at what every other team has been playing, and then if you look what's been played a few weeks ago, and what Angry Titans was playing today, then they had not really read the situation correctly. Because the Sombra composition can work. It can find value. But it's just so hard to pull off in this current meta where everyone plays so open and spread out that why do you still run it? Why aren't you going with the meta? Like it makes sense. There's a win condition, but it doesn't put enough pressure on the back line. There isn't enough from your second DPS. And
the thing is, you hit a very interesting snag here. You said the preparation wasn't in the way that it should have been for this matchup. My question would be, with Angry Titans locking their roster basically yesterday, how much time did they actually have to prepare? So that could be a factor, don't you think?
I mean, this is not necessarily gameplay preparation itself. This is also just general meta preparation, right? Where you look ahead at what do we have to play in trials. They already knew they were going to be in trials after, I think, Tuesday or something last week, so fairly early on. So they've had actually like a week to prepare, even though their roster was locked in late. So even though you cannot play with those 6 players because you don't have all of them, your idea of what are we going to play should be fairly clear earlier on. It should be known what the meta is, should be on top of that. And even if they were, it felt like they were at least ignoring it a slight bit and saying, but we can also play this. And that came back to haunt them.
That could very well be. On the other side, you are a new team, a new roster, new composition, right? You know what the meta is, but you can't play it. You can't play it in the composition, in the team composition that you are running right now. And in the team composition, I mean the group of players that comprise of your roster. The current roster maybe is not yet fully played in. So they said, play roughly what's comfortable. Adapt to the situation and hope that Ex-Oblivion will not catch up to what we're doing. Well, Ex-Oblivion did catch up. Ex-Oblivion actually overtook and made sure that this was quite a fast game, especially looking at Volskaya Industries. I haven't seen something like that in my career as a caster.
No, definitely not. It was a very odd match in a lot of ways, but we're coming to the end of this, Ollie, and I can actually give you some updates of what's been going on in the rest of the trials week so far. I mean, it's only been day 1, so there aren't a lot of things, but we're gonna do that after we've had an interview with one of the players from Ex-Oblivion. So I don't know if they're ready yet. Maybe we can throw to a break. It's all what we're waiting for right now for production. But yeah, we're just gonna go right to a break. We'll see you right back with an interview with Ex-Oblivion and updates on the rest of the trial state.
Oh yeah. Welcome back to Monkey Bubble. You are watching the Overwatch Contenders Trials, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. We have just seen an impressively one-sided game between Ex-Oblivione and Angry Titans. And with us to tell us something about the feelings that you get from winning such a fight is Slay from Ex-Oblivion. Hello, Slay. Welcome, my friend.
Oh, hello.
So, my first question already pointed to in the interview. You won this game. You won this game handily. Did you expect it to be this simple? I'm sorry if it sounds detrimental, but it was quite easy, if I dare say so. And if not, why do you think it was so simple?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy. I don't think there was a lot of stress about this match whatsoever. Because it was easy, it's just because we have better players in every role. I don't think there's much to talk about that, honestly.
Okay, you heard
Makes
it.
a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, you heard it here first, indeed, Ollie. We heard it here first. Now, I mean, my main question is, how does it feel to just have, an entire team just making a big blanket for you against the Sombra?
Well, it's fun because I can just do whatever I want. I don't need to care about the Sombra or Tracer because I just survive because I have Carry on Brick and I just roll on Deer or Sigma. It's pretty easy.
Yeah. Definitely seem that way.
It did absolutely seem that way. Now, Slay, looking at the way, the worst thing about today is the fact that you are here today. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, you got you got relegated from Contenders. Last split was a bit tough for you. Are there any factors that contributed to that? And do you think that you have been able as a team to overcome that and to fix your issues to get back in there?
I think the factors are mainly just the fact that you're very inexperienced players in comparison to other teams. So they stress a lot when it comes to officials, myself included. Right, I'm not really an old player. I'm kind of new to Contenders and stuff, so it puts a lot of stress on you, especially given the current meta being Zenyatta. I never really played Zenyatta in Contenders ever. I always played Tees, right? So that was a huge factor to it. Is that we stress ourselves and we make mistakes due to the conditions we put ourselves under. And I think that given this month, we kind of realized that. We didn't realize it this month, but we realized it this month. So, so in the upcoming month, we're gonna improve on that, I think, and it's definitely gonna show that we're gonna improve in that because we can actually.
So is there anything like particular you're doing to combat that potential like stress or the nervousness you get for it, or is it just we play more and at some point we just feel normal?
I think it's more like understanding that it's happening and how you can combat it yourself. It's just like don't scream, don't stress out. Try to in scrims and stuff. Try to just focus all the time to understand what's actually going on. Trying to maximize whatever is going on. It's a lot of the nerves as well, and a lot of the mistakes you make when you have nerves is because you don't take practice seriously, or something like that, right? And you go off instinct. That's when all the mistakes generally happen. Right? So that's why we are focusing on more now instead.
Yeah, always good to have that conversation started, indeed.
So, same question to you that I asked in the first series. Any messages to any of the people watching out there, the people that have been following Ex-Oblivion for a while? Is there anything you'd like to say to the people out there?
I don't know. I think that's the only thing I can say is that I think we're gonna at least get higher place this Contenders month. I think we're gonna improve a ton, and I think that if we fix the main issues I talked about, I think we can go from the being top 5th and 6th, which I am disappointed in, to at least like a 3rd, 4th, or 2nd place in Contenders this upcoming month.
All right. Well, I wish you all the luck with that. I know Man of Class feels the same way. We are always very happy to see Ex-Oblivion just fire it in and go for the stars. Big fans from day one. So good luck with that. With that being said, we are going to move on to the segment that Man of Class already alluded to. We're going to check the standings, check the updates from the rest of the Contenders trials. Man of Class, fire it away, my friend.
Yeah, so of course you've seen the 2 series on this stream, right? We had a 3-0 coming out from Olden Board versus VASTA, which means that Olden Board goes up 1 win, VASTA goes down a loss. There is also another series in that same group. This is Group B we're talking about here, which was VSM versus OT Pog, and that went into favor of VSM. Fairly convincing as well, so they also have the 1-0. And then of course we have Ex-Oblivion and Angry Titans that duked it out, and it came up to a 3-0 for Ex-Oblivion. So that's Group B right now for day 1, with 3 teams going up. With that win, 3 teams going down. That's how it works, because that's how groups are. And on the other group, we have Arasta Perespera that actually went up against Vox Nihili, came out on top there. New Kings won against Caspian. And currently a match that's still going on, and might actually be going to a map 5, if you believe it, is Avoided versus Shoes Bunny Crew. They're currently on map 4 Dorado, with Shoes Bunny Crew attacking and Avoided having completed the map. So if you're going to head over to another stream after this, I would recommend you to do that one, because we're going to be closing out the day here on this stream, and tomorrow of course we will be back. Some other faces, but still some same teams and the same Overwatch.
And where can we find that stream if we were so inclined, Man of Class?
Of course, on the Monkey Bubble official YouTube channel. I mean, you're already on it. You know how it is. Just click the subscribe button, hit the notification. You know exactly when we go live. It will be 8 p.m. CET, not CEST, we switched. And the Eastern time would be, in that case, 4? Yeah, 4 p.m., I guess.
Yeah, 4 p.m.
Say that correctly?
Yeah, no, you're
no.
right. No?
Yeah, no, I'm not. It's 2. Sorry, it's because it's 6-hour difference. I did the math wrong in my head. I usually the math guy, right? No, even I make mistakes. Yeah, it's definitely a thing. So 2 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to be indeed 8 p.m. European time. We'll be back. 4 series again on 2 streams. But for this one, this is going to close out. Go over to the other one, because it's definitely heating up in there. And enjoy, try it, and Waltham covering that for you.
That's right. With that being said, I was the Olomancer. With me is and will always be the Man of Class, and we will see you tomorrow.